It faces an uncertain future in the House. Supporters say the measure safeguards against future abuses. Critics say it could project weakness. The head of Starbucks, accused of union busting, denies breaking labor laws.
Are you aware that NLRB judges have ruled that Starbucks violated federal labor law over 100 times during the past 18 months? Far more than any other corporation in America.
Sir, Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally, and let me set the tone for this very early on, has not broken the law.
CEO Howard Schultz also telling Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders that the company is committed to good faith negotiations on first contracts for each unionized store. Starbucks has also denied firing workers for trying to unionize. Schultz announcing recently he's stepping down as CEO. State officials plan a briefing at this hour in Louisville, Kentucky on the effort to recover barges that came loose from a tug while being towed early yesterday on the Ohio River, one of them carrying tons of methanol. Officials say no toxic leaks have been found. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Plenty of sunshine on this Wednesday afternoon. 59. Tonight, clear and cold, down to 38 overnight. Thursday, partly sunny, nice, little windy in the afternoon. 65 showers late Thursday night. Friday, some morning showers, then a break, then rain and thunderstorms trying to redevelop mid to late afternoon into the evening. Some of those storms could be strong to severe. The high Friday, 72. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you need a new fence or deck, experience matters. At Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they've been at it since 1968. Mark Cox here. If you want the sign you have the very best, go to Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Visit their extensive showroom there in Chesterfield. They'll give you free in-home estimates, no obligation, even free project design. Their fences are made in the USA. They're wood, vinyl, or aluminum, even steel and chain link, and their decks are beautiful, natural cedar. Plus, they have that Vecadec vinyl decking, which is the strongest in the industry, with no maintenance. They also do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas. You'll want to find out more about Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com. Mention Mark Cox, and you'll get a special discount for the month of February and March. chesterfieldfence.com, or call them today at 636-532-4054.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency.
Let's talk about saving money at Ruler Foods. I am a shopper at Ruler Foods, and here are a few things that you can save on right now. Just a few more examples as to why my family loves the opportunity to save our money without having to go through the hassle of clipping coupons and everything, just by going shopping at Ruler Foods. Right now, you can check out Cook's Shank or Butt Portion Ham. Limit 1, 87 cents a pound. That's fantastic. Boneless pork chops or fresh hamburger patties sold in packs of 10 patties or chops for $10. Clementines or Honeycrisp apples, 3-pound bags, $3.47 each. 24-pack of Kroger purified water, $2.49 each. There's just a ton of different ways that you can save when you shop at Ruler Foods, and it's just easy. They have the name brands that you love, but they also have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. Have you found the Ruler Foods closest to you? Go online. Go to rulerfoods.com and learn about the different ones that they have right near you, maybe near your place of work. Shop today at rulerfoods.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is anchor man, not anchor lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. We're so glad that you are here. It is opening day eve in St. Louis. So if you're listening to us, of course, on the radio here in the St. Louis area, you already know what that means. If you're listening to us on the Odyssey app, and as Tim mentioned on our live stream, he's listening from Fort Myers, Florida, you probably still know what opening day means in St. Louis. We're excited for the St. Louis Cardinals season to get back in full swing and have something positive. It is a positive distraction in my life to be able to turn on a Cardinals game at night and not the news. Do you feel that way? Do you experience that at night when you are trying to fill those few hours before you might be going to bed? Isn't it nice when there's a baseball game on to watch? We are excited and looking forward to it. The Nashville shooting details that continue to come out from the shooting that took place earlier this week. Yesterday, if you were listening to the show, you know that we were at Heroes Care, Mission Depot, the grand opening there, and it was such an amazing experience. I really encourage you, if you didn't get to listen to the show at all yesterday, I mean, you don't have to listen to all 3 hours, but go back. You can go back on the YouTube channel, the Annie Fry YouTube channel, or just stream it from our podcast. If you go to the YouTube channel, you can get a real view of what it was that we were experiencing, what Mission Depot actually is. You can see it with your own eyes through that YouTube stream. But it was another dose of positivity in my life. It was just the adrenaline rush that I needed to maybe distract me for a minute from the news of the day, maybe put me into a position where I could think about something positive, because I'll tell you what, every detail that comes out from the shooting pushes me down, and it makes me very sad. And we're not in a position right now where we can effectively have this conversation in our country where we put into our brains somebody busting into a school, mowing down children, and those people who work in that school to serve those children. There's not a moment where you're going to learn how to do this. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and she was saying to me, she's a new mom, and she's like, how do you do this? When you have children of your own, my presumption is it doesn't matter if your children are grown. When you have children of your own, you start to see these things differently. You do not have to have kids to understand the tragedy that took place in our country. But it does hit a little bit different when you're thinking about the classroom that you've put your child in. You're wondering about the preparedness of the school that you send them to, that you entrust them to. If you, like me, are married to a school teacher, you think about the safety of your loved one who is in that school, who might have to do heroic things like these adults did in the shooting in Nashville. It is a bottomless pit of hopelessness to take in something like what happened earlier this week. And I hear people, maybe I've even said it, I don't even know. People make the comments, how do we make sense of this? If you figure out how to make sense of this, you need to readjust who you are and where you are and what you're doing and what influences you to be that way. This is not supposed to compute in your brain. This is not supposed to be something that results in I can explain this. And then you explain it to someone and they go, oh, well, that makes sense. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. We are lost if it does. We still have to look at these situations, look at the scenarios that might have led us to another incident like this, or might lead us to the next incident down the road. There's going to be another one. Isn't that the most disgusting part of all of this? That there is going to be another one. You know that. You know that it's coming again. We just play the roulette wheel and hope that it doesn't come close to our home. It's on the left and the right to use this moment to argue for and against the Second Amendment. I beg you not to participate in that conversation. It's not going to be solved here. Even if you banned every gun in the world, I don't know that that would be the law that would have stopped this woman from going into this school and mowing down 9-year-olds. She would have been like, I was going to do it, but then I found out there's a law against murdering children. I think I'll stop here. You want to make guns more difficult to get? It's only going to make guns more difficult to get for people who want to abide by the law. Do we have a gun problem in this country? If we have a gun problem in this country, that cat is out of the bag. Those guns exist on the street. The crimes that are committed in St. Louis, you think about 3 children who died at the hands of this evil woman? That's what you're looking at right now. There are children dying in our city all the time at the hands of evil people. It all has to matter. It all has to come together to matter. Which is why I say, if you get dismayed looking at what is taking place in Nashville, you may feel like this is the final straw. Do you remember Uvalde? How could that not have been the final straw? How many school shootings have we had in between there? What does it mean to be the final straw? Are you now willing to go onto Twitter and really shout from the rooftops, this has to stop? If I pound my fist on the table here on this show and say this has to stop, is literally any single individual going to do anything differently? It's not the world we live in. We live in a world where people are being told that everything about themselves that they don't like is actually okay. We are investing a ton of time, energy, and oh my gosh, so many advertising marketing dollars. There are so many boardrooms surrounded with advertising execs whose job it is to take the thing that you dislike about yourself the most and tell you that's the best thing about you. You are exactly okay the way you are. We have no incentive to self-improve. And if we don't self-improve, then where do we draw our attention to? Everybody else. We don't have a culture and a society right now that encourages people to be good and better people. And why would we want to be good and better people? For those who are around us. Because the world right now, those boardrooms right now, social media right now, tells you that the worst thing that you hate about yourself is the best thing about you, and anybody who makes you feel differently about that hates you. How are you supposed to be a child raised in a society like that and make sense of anything? How are you supposed to go through the natural questioning of yourself that nobody will ever be able to stop that? It's part of growing up. You see how people are growing up around you. You know that you're different. Maybe you have less money. Maybe you have more money. Maybe you are a little bit overweight. Maybe you are a little underweight. Maybe you needed to have braces and everybody else already has straight teeth. Whatever the scenario is, you are different than everybody else. And this whole movement started with the idea that we should celebrate that. Now we are told how we have to be, what we have to vocally, frequently assure everybody that they understand that you approve of. Because there is only one acceptable way to be, and that's whatever the capital T they say at that given moment. And those goalposts move by the minute. Because if they don't move, then maybe we will achieve the goal that they've set in front of us, and then there's nowhere else to profit off of it. How are children who are questioning everything they do every single day, because everybody around them is questioning everything they do every single day, because they themselves in their own lives are questioning everything they do every day, how are kids supposed to be raised in a society where the things that they question about themselves are immediately wiped away to say anybody who makes you feel lesser than you are hates you? And then the politically motivated groups out there who fundraise on these things figure out a way to make sure that they elevate you so they can squash those people down, keep you as divided as you possibly can, and then there is no diversity. Children who grow up to be like this 28-year-old who shot up this school are growing up in a really conflicted time. And we are emboldening as a society these people who are not mentally well. We are emboldening them to think that they have a righteous action to take out on society because of the way society treats them. Do you remember sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt me? Words are hurting these people so bad that they're using sticks and stones to kill our children. You want to solve this problem? You never will. You want to try to improve it? We got to protect our kids. We got to protect the messages that get sent to them, the messages that they receive, the internet, the ability for children. And this school is preschool through 6th grade. My opinion is none of them should have ever have unsupervised access to the internet. Social media, TikTok. If you don't think that TikTok is a propaganda machine, you're not paying enough attention. The types of things that are put on TikTok for anybody of any age who has access to the internet to consume. What China uses TikTok for in this country to persuade our youth and to turn our youth against our American society is tearing us apart at the seams. Is there a gun rule or a gun law or a gun regulation or a modification? Is there any gun anything ever that could be implemented that would affect the future and make one of these things happen less tragically, maybe not happen at all? Maybe. We could have a conversation about it, but don't come knocking on my door only after the crisis happens to have that conversation and then start talking to me about the NRA. If you want my support, you're going to have to talk to me like you care about me as a human and like you actually care about my kids that you're going to use in your conversation to ask me if I love the NRA more than I love my children. I will fight you with my hands. We don't care about the pawns that we use to have these arguments when it comes to guns. That's the most sick, perverted, hypocritical part of it. And people on both sides of the aisle are to blame. The gun still has smoke coming from it, and we're talking about gun control. And then the right gets wrapped up in it, and then they're defending the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment exists, folks. It's in the Constitution. You want to challenge the Second Amendment, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. Make sure you understand how those justices get put onto the Supreme Court and vote accordingly. The amount of time that it would take for a legislation to get put into place and to have an effective difference, if it ever even were to, is a lot of time. You can protect your kids right now by making sure you know what messages are getting into them, what messages they're putting out there. We way apart from the government, have to start investing our time back into our children. We have to make sure that they understand who they are, where they get their value from, how anybody gets to take that value away from them, only if you permit it. Maybe there's a ripple effect that could happen when we start treating these situations with an impossible level of kindness towards one another and patience, actual virtue, not just the bumper sticker on your car or the frame on your Facebook profile or the sticker on your phone that says, I am incredibly virtuous. That has to be history. That has to be something in the past, because we can't afford another one of these shootings, and you already know that there will be another one of these shootings. There always is. We're going to break right now, talk to Chad Wolf when we come back. He's the Executive Director and Chief Strategy Officer at the America First Policy Institute. He's also the chair of the Center for Homeland Security and Immigration and the former acting secretary of the United States Department of Homeland Security. Do we still have a border problem? Do we have a fentanyl problem? Does this administration care about it? Chad Wolf will tell us when we come back. Don't go away.
You can do just to move, much less finish the race. But don't forget what lies ahead. Almost hope, brother, it won't be long. Sooner you'll burn.
So when I've been spending time being active and trying to, get in summer shape, but also just be in a healthy amount of activity in my life, Prevent Sprained Socks have helped me feel more confident in my ability to stay active and protect my ankles. I have one ankle that I rolled really, really bad in high school, and it's 20 whatever years later, and I still suffer from that bad ankle. It's kind of turned into a weakened knee. If you're an active person, if you're looking to become an active person, I want you to check out PreventSprainSocks.com. These are wonderful socks that have a built-in support system for your ankle. I use them. I just have the socks on when I box. They are fantastic. They give me the support I need. I also use them when I play basketball or volleyball. People use them when they walk. If you're taking long walks, if you're going to Disney World and you're going to be walking 30,000 steps, these socks are going to do a great job for you. Also, if you're somebody who plays pickleball or tennis, I want you to check these Prevent Sprained Socks out today. They also offer golf socks. They also put you in a position to be able to be confident when you are working out, when you are staying fit. It's Prevent Sprained Socks. They are a St. Louis company. You can find them online at PreventSprainedSocks.com.
On April 4th, St. Louis County voters will see Prop M on their ballots. But what does Prop M mean for county residents? Prop M states, shall St. Louis County impose an additional sales tax of 3% on retail sales of adult-use marijuana sold in the county? The estimated yearly $3.5 million collected from this tax can be allocated to fund police, parks, and roads. Learn more about Prop M at stlouiscountymo.gov/Prop M.
Paid for by St. Louis County, Missouri. Sam Page, County Executive, 41 South Central, Clayton, Missouri, 63105.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And did we mention it's aluminum free? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 901 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 901. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 901 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 901.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Eric Clapton is coming to St. Louis on September 12th, and you can win tickets by listening to The Mark Reardon Show. Tune in from 3 to 6, and when I give the number, that's your cue to call. Every day this week on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Let a couple years water down how I'm feeling about you. And every time
let's talk about what you're doing, though. In January of this year, you rolled out a new phone app called CBP One, an app for a cell phone. I've got a picture of it behind me here. This phone app allows, and I'm going to quote from your own fact sheet, it allows, and I quote, non-citizens without appropriate documents for admission to schedule an appointment to come to the border. They can now go on their phone and schedule a time to come to the border and then be admitted. And you identified 7 separate border points of entry where they could come. 5 of them in Texas, 2 of them in California, 1 in Arizona. It's like a concierge service for illegal immigrants.
Senator Hawley, our very own senator there, talking to Alejandro Mayorkas. And this hearing, if you've been able to take in any of it, there's a lot of laying into Mayorkas throughout that. This southern border, it's always a top story, but then we have other things that bust through and really take up a lot of that attention and the oxygen in the room. But every time you come back to it, it's only ever gotten worse. Let's talk to our next guest about this. Chad Wolf, Executive Director and Chief Strategy Officer at the America First Policy Institute. Chad, thank you for coming on to the Annie Fry Show with us today. We're very grateful to have you here.
Well, great. Well, thanks for having me.
So when we, like I said, we come back to the talk about the border, we try to talk about it at minimum weekly, but the problems continue to exist. We have terrorists coming across the border, fentanyl coming across the border, just thousands and thousands of people coming across the border. What is the thing that you don't think the majority of Americans who may not understand what's going on the border, what is the thing that they need to get about this administration's approach?
So I think it's 2 things. One, there's some serious national security threats that are coming across that border every single day. And then I would say 2 is that this is all by design. The administration over the last 25 months has planned this out. This is what they believe in, and they have instituted a number of policies and decisions over the course of those 25 months that have got us to where we are today. So it's not by happenstance and it's not by chance that we've gotten here. This is what they believe in, and this is what they have turned our border into. I think most Americans, most reasonable Americans, kind of shake their head and say, what on earth is going on, and why can't we fix this? Most of America views it as a problem, but I think there are folks, and I would include the secretary in there, that don't believe that what's going on at the border is in fact a problem.
Well, Chad Wolf, you've served as the former acting secretary of the United States Department of Homeland Security. Has the United States had plans and policies in place that have worked in the recent past?
Well, sure. Well, look, what I would say is I would go back multiple administrations, Republican and Democrat alike, and I would say over the course of every administration, there's always been improvements to border security. I would argue that some administrations have done more than others. I would put the Trump administration up there. We did a number of successful policies. This is the first administration in my lifetime that has taken 3 to 4 steps backwards when it comes to border security. They're not making any progress. not even an incremental amount of progress. We have gone back in time, so to speak, and that's where we find ourselves. So there are a number of effective policies that could be implemented today that they don't need Congress to pass a law to do. We gave them a blueprint to do that throughout the course of 2018, 19, and 20. They have all of that on the shelf, so to speak, at the Department of Homeland Security headquarters. They can institute those today if they chose to. They simply are choosing not to.
We're speaking with Chad Wolf. He's the chair of the Center for Homeland Security and Immigration. I'm thinking about the southern border, and I'm thinking about how you were saying, here's a plan for progress. How could we make progress on these issues? But I would think that progress is always subjective, because progress might look to you different than what it looks like to them. And they've abdicated their responsibilities, from my viewpoint, so much on the southern border. I have to ask, Chad, do you think that they have a different goal than you do?
Well, I do. I think they said that, right? President Biden said that during the campaign, and they certainly did that with a number of policy decisions that they made during their first month in office. And it was designed to attract people to the border, right? They said, hey, we're open. We're open for business was one of their quotes. And then they sent out, guidance saying you can't remove individuals. You can't remove whole classes of individuals that have no legal right to be here in the United States. But that's okay. We're not going to remove them. Well, that sends a demand signal to other folks who want to come here illegally. So I think they have done a number of intentional things over the course of their tenure thus far that has sent the signal to folks that it's okay to come to the border. It's okay to illegally cross. It's okay to break U.S. law. And then we're going to release you, and then we're not going to deport you. So everything that the cartels have ever wanted, they've given to the administration is giving them. And that's why we have seen upwards of 5.5 million illegal apprehensions over a 2-year period. And I appreciate a lot of people don't follow those numbers. That number I just said is astronomically high. We should not be anywhere close to that number. But yet that's where we find ourselves.
Does that number include like gotaways? You said apprehensions. What about the people who we don't apprehend?
So that number does include about 1.3 million gotaways. The interesting part about gotaways, these are folks that cross the border and never come into contact with the law enforcement officers. There's two categories of those. I don't want to get real technical, but there's the known gotaways, these are the folks that we see on cameras, radar feeds, and we know that they have crossed. But there's also the unknown gotaways. These are folks that we never see. We never come into contact, and we have no record of them. And it's because we don't have operational control over that border. So that number is likely higher, but that's the number coming from DHS at the moment.
Chad Wolf joining us right now, the Executive Director and Chief Strategy Officer at the America First Policy Institute. This is a very politically charged conversation. You talk about the southern border. It seems like there's a red uniform and a blue uniform that you can put on, and generally people go to their corners and they have their thoughts on it. It's being talked about. Mayorkas at a hearing there with the senators. It's going to be an election issue once again. Does anything get solved in the political bickering and the hearings? Do you have any hope that the government entities will fix some of this?
Well, here's what I would say. It shouldn't be a politically charged issue, right? Obviously there's passionate viewpoints on either side, but I go back to my earlier comment. Administration after administration has made incremental improvements in the immigration system and on border security. This is the first time, really, where people have dug in and said, look, what you're doing on the border is totally, incomprehensible. You've got to change course. And this is the first time that we see an administration not changing course, saying, what is occurring? The cartel violence, all the human trafficking along that border is okay. And so I think that's the change that we see here. To your second part of your question, I think some of the hearings, what does it do? It illuminates some of the issues that maybe aren't getting the coverage and aren't getting out there to the American people. So we're talking about it today because, the secretary testified in an open hearing. I think this administration would rather not talk about this issue. They'd rather have it go away. So I think more hearings, more public hearings, I should say, is good. The American people need to understand what the challenges are down there and what's the solution going forward.
Chad Wolf with us right now on the Annie Fry Show. I'm curious about your work with the America First Policy Institute, the idea of America First. A lot of the people on the left will talk about how not compassionate America First might be to these people who are fleeing their homelands where there's violence and drugs and gangs and all this stuff. They're coming here because they need America. And if you say, no, America First, that seems very discompassionate. Is America First, does that position America to become more compassionate?
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about America First, what I would say is when we talk about America First, we talk about not only in the Homeland Security context, but across a number of policy areas, what's in the best interest of Americans. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the oath. If you're a public official, that's what you take, is what is in the best interest of Americans. And I think that's first and foremost. And look, there's always going to be individuals that want to come to the United States because we're such a great country. They want economic opportunity. God bless them for that. There's a legal way to do that, though. And if you choose to break federal law and you choose to break the law of the United States to cross illegally, there should be consequences to that. And right now, there are no consequences. So you can be compassionate while still enforcing the rule of law. We are a country based on laws. And if you throw that away in one sector, particularly on the border, you're going to have chaos. And that's what we have today. So, simply saying, hey, we're enforcing the law and we're putting America interests first, I don't think that you're saying we're not compassionate. That's not the case. During the Trump administration, during all 4 years, we gave out more green cards than any other administration has done. There's a way to be compassionate while you implement and you enforce the rule of the law.
Chad Wolf, last question for you. As the chair of the Center for Homeland Security and Immigration, what kind of roll of the dice are we taking with these open borders when it comes to our homeland security?
Well, look, I think there's a number of concerning things. I would say a couple of things. One is the number of known and suspected terrorists, what we call KSTs, that continue to show up at that border. During a 4 or 5 year stretch, which included during the Trump administration over about 5 years, we saw about 16 to 17 in all 5 years combined. Just last year, there were over 90. So far this year, there's been over 66 or 65, I should say. And so there are some real national security concerns. There's a reason why Chinese nationals are showing up at the southern border. It's not because, they really love Mexico and they want to go to Mexico and then visit the United States. They're crossing there for a very specific reason. And there's a reason that you have 1.2 million gotaways, folks that want to enter the country, but they don't want to be apprehended by law enforcement, which is to say they run away, they abscond, they camouflage their activities, they cross at night, they do a number of things because they're here for not good reasons. And I think we need to recognize that. And I think that's what gets lost when we talk about the crisis, because it's normally, you're seeing women and children crossing the Rio Grande, but you don't see the bad people. And I don't think that the American people should lose track of that.
Well, we appreciate you staying on this issue, and thank you for the time today. Chad Wolf, we appreciate you coming on here and sharing your expertise with us.
All right. Thank you.
Of course. Chad Wolf, the Executive Director and Chief Strategy Officer at the America First Policy Institute. You got to wonder how many of these issues that we've pushed and pulled against the political opponent on the other side of the aisle, whether you're red or blue, how many of these issues, if you sat down and had a conversation with somebody and, put forth your best interest in the other person's well-being and tried not to win some political battle, if we agree upon more than we disagree, because some of this stuff is just so obvious. Invest in common sense. Which political party wants to be the party of common sense? That party might win. The YouTube live chat poll today: should the United States government ban TikTok? Yes or no? I would love to know what you think about this. A lot of people saying absolutely, it's a disaster for this country, and it's not a free speech issue because the government is not acting in good faith. It's a different than they're not worried about the content. They're worried about the behavior of the company and the utilization of that app within the country, within the company towards our country. Should it be banned, or does it infringe upon rights of people who want to use that to express themselves? Let us know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel what you think, and Hannah will highlight those answers later on in the show at 2:45. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America is going to come back and talk to us a little about family dinners. How do you feel about family dinners. Still important? Too difficult to pull off? Let us know in the comments what you think, and Ryan will join us in just a minute.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I know I'd go back to you.
Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group is a family business there. His nephew, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, are helping people exactly like you, Annie Fry Show listeners, 97.1 listeners, prepare for their retirement. Once you get to be about 59 and a half, specifically, exactly 59 and a half, the game kind of changes for you. You need to make sure that you have the information you need to put yourself in the best position to retire on your terms with expectations that are going to be met because you sat down and planned out that worry-free retirement with the Retirement Advisory Group. You can schedule a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review by calling 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. If you sit down with them and you have a conversation, doesn't cost you anything, you're going to get a free copy of their second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. One more time, that's 314-993-9494. Call the Retirement Advisory Group. Tell them Annie sent you. You can visit online and schedule an appointment there as well. Go to retirementkey.com.
If you want to see better in the new year, there's no better time to call Brenton Vision than right now. Mark Cox here. My friends at Brenton have everything you need to get the crisp, clear vision you've always wanted. Call them at 314-375-2020 or go online today to brentonvision.com. They are the only team in Missouri to perform all 7 FDA-approved forms of vision correction. That includes modern LASIK, permanent contact lenses, and if you have bad reading vision, they even have treatments for you too. So stop throwing your money away. My wife got lens replacement. She sees perfectly these days, and she loves it. Quit putting it off. If it's standing in your way of achieving your goals and your resolutions, Brenton Vision is here to help. Call them today at 314-375-2020. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. That's 314-375-2020. Or schedule right now at brentonvision.com. If you love eating out, let me introduce you to Satchmo's Bar and Grill. Mark Cox here from my friends at Satchmo's. They have daily lunch and dinner specials. They're a from-scratch kitchen with food and cocktails, and they have weekly specials. Wagyu meatloaf on Monday nights, steak night on Wednesdays, burger night for just $6.95 on Thursdays, and plenty of flat screen TVs to catch the big game. Check them out on Facebook or online at satchmosgrill.com at Olive in 141.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as Best Laser Eye Treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-List competition. Online at stlmag.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
Mining for truth in a landscape of BS. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll: should the United States government ban TikTok? Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and we broadcast live every day. You're going to see the live broadcast right when you go to our channel, and then in the live chat portion, you can tell us yes or no if you think TikTok should be banned. Wiggins America.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I came into this story with a preconceived notion that I actually was doing pretty good and walked away thinking maybe the opposite. So I want to get your thoughts on it. This is about the amount of time or a number per week of times that you are having a family dinner with your family. The research has found...
It's funny to have a family dinner with
somebody
else's family.
It's still a family dinner as long as there's a family there, right?
Yeah, let's set the parameters of what we're talking about here.
New research has found that 4 in 10 parents report having, quote unquote, only 3 or fewer family dinners per week. 4 in 10, that's 40%, having 3 or fewer family dinners per week. I have about 3. I think we eat on the road quite a bit because of practices and stuff. I thought we were doing pretty good. So I wanted to know what this looks like, in Hannah and Brad's life. Annie, we're all going to be kind of in different stages and different life spots with these things. So I wanted to see how you thought you were doing.
Is the question more about eating with your family or eating at home?
I think probably both of them are intertwined. So how many times are you eating with your family at home?
Because that's Hannah and her mom. Yep. Me and my mom. Microphone. Oh, she does have her headphones on.
She's got her headphones on.
She's got her headphones on. She's like, yeah, but I'm not going to do the mic thing.
Yeah, one or the other, guys. Pick one. When it comes to how often I eat family dinners, which would be just me and my mom at home, that is, we don't. When I get off of work, I go to the gym, and by the time I'm done with the gym, my mom goes to work. She works at night, so we don't get to eat with one another during the week. It's kind of sad, but we have prioritized doing family dinners or family breakfasts on Saturday. So every Saturday, me, my mom, and my sisters always eat together, and that's really important. It's like my mom's favorite thing in the world. So we get together and do that for
I think that's important too, though, because you're in a situation in your life where what you're talking about there is you're preserving that idea of eating together with your family when everybody is in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So coming together on Saturdays, that's difficult. So making that priority, I think, is important.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, what does this look like for you?
Well, for me, it's me and my wife.
Yeah.
And I would say probably 4 times a week we eat dinner at home together. The other times we eat dinner together wherever we go. So, you throw in a date night in there somewhere, and
which is still important.
Oh yeah, almost all the time. Then I can't think of the last time I had. Well, I guess last night was the last time I had dinner by myself, and that's because my wife had grading to do, and I went to the gym, and I can't eat before I work out, so I ate afterwards. But
so you're eating with her almost all the time,
Almost
whether
all
it's
the time.
eating out or at home. But does this look different for your family? Because you're in the same situation as we are. We got stuff going on all the time.
We do 4 or 5 nights a week.
That's great.
Maybe more.
That's
really
impressive.
good.
Yeah.
Is that deliberate or is that?
It has to be.
So when you find yourself on the nights that you're not doing it, is it because life is getting in the way and you prefer to eat at home?
What?
is stuff?
Oh, you're saying that we would eat elsewhere
it.
and then, but we can't because but sometimes we just don't want. I mean, you're still eating together, but you decide to eat on the road. Maybe we don't want to cook or something like that. But I mean, we will. It might be. We sit around the kitchen table and eat. Set the table. Put the food on the table. Dish the food out after we've sat down and said, "Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let these gifts to us be blessed." Amen. Molly can say, "Come, Lord Jesus." Amen. We do that at least 4 nights a week during the week. And then Saturdays, like I would say Fridays and Saturdays specifically, we will likely go out or order out, but we still eat together. So
this is where I get caught up in the semantics of it, because we have at our house, and it's just because it's the way it's set up, a counter that has 3 bar stools at it. Well, it's real easy to serve the kids when they sit at that counter while we're making dinner. But then me and my wife, where are we sitting? We're not really there. So we're either standing while we're eating or we go eat in the other room. So it's kind of a weird, like the prep of the meal is done sort of together. So, but it's got to be about the time spent, right? I mean, that's the whole reason we're talking about this, is that they say the reason most people want to do this is because, and it differs by generation, actually. It's kind of funny because millennial and Gen X parents say that they're doing this because of spending time with their family, while Gen Z parents, which have got to be pretty young at this point, because Gen Z is barely getting into the age where they can have kids.
What's the oldest Gen Z?
I don't know. How do you define that?
I don't know.
I don't know what the cutoff is. I know that that's the youngest generation right now.
I'm Gen Z, right?
Yeah, you're Gen Z.
There's actually a younger generation out there called Generation Alpha.
Oh, that must be like kids.
Yeah,
Gen Z is 1997 to 2012.
So
11
they say
to 26. You could be a parent. I was a parent at 25.
Gen Z parents say that the most important thing for them about family dinners is making their kids enjoy food, which, I guess is a younger thing. But for us, it's...
What?
Well, it's not about the quality time for them. They say they just want to
make sure
instill in their kids a love of food.
Huh.
And make
That's
sure
unique.
their kids are fed.
What?
Did
you read that right?
Yes. This is coming from the New York Post.
The goal of Gen Z parents is to turn their children into foodies?
That's what it says, is that's the most important on this list to them.
I'm like, you're going to eat mac and cheese and you're going to like it.
I mean, who doesn't like mac and cheese, though?
True.
I don't know. If you've ever raised kids and you make mac and cheese, that's the night they don't like it.
That's true, too.
That's a fact.
I think that there's something important, though. Like, any of your important life events, there's always food involved in it. I mean, if you stop and think about it, you take a girl out on a date, you usually go to a restaurant and you get food somewhere. It's where most of the bonding of friends and family go on. And I don't know what it is about food, but that togetherness that happens around food, it really does have an important bonding thing to it. And I think that's why having dinner with your family is such an important thing. And I think I don't want to dog on all Gen Z because I don't believe that's all Gen Z. I think that might be just like,
That would not be my reason for wanting to have a family dinner.
I want my kid to be a foodie. What? I don't want to dog on that, but that is not the most important point. Now, if your attitude is I want my kid to eat so that they are healthy, that's a different story because I know that kids can be cranky sometimes.
A whole level of problems I didn't know that you had to have as a parent. My philosophy is if you're hungry, you'll eat.
That's a great philosophy.
And if you're tired, you'll sleep. That's another great one.
Kids fight that one.
I was going to say, not really. That one's not so much because you get that overtired thing and then they just rage.
Brad, I hate to hear what you just said because I think that you're right. It's the idea of communion and relationships forming around food. Because my rationale for this was, well, we spend a lot of time together. It's just we're really not sitting down at a table together and having food. And I hesitate to accept the guilt that comes with that, but there is guilt. I mean, there are a lot of things, Andy, tell me if I'm wrong. There are a lot of things that society says you need to be doing this or else when you get to this age or whatever, your family's not going to be as close. And this is one of those things that does bother me.
What?
It's almost like the mom guilt thing, except I'm not a mom. Of telling me this is the way you ought to be doing things, and if I'm not doing them, fighting off the guilt idea.
The family dinners?
With this one in particular, I'm not doing it right. We're not having enough family dinners.
Are you doing it right?
As defined by this poll.
Are you doing it right?
I don't know. I mean, people are telling me that apparently we need to
introduce you to my lack of care or concern of polls.
But I'm a slave to polls, so I have to care.
No, you don't.
But there's guilt with this stuff, right? It's the Instagram culture of.
Ryan, I understand what you're saying. You hear other people are spending more time doing family dinners, so you feel ashamed that you're not.
No, they're just taking pictures of their family dinners and putting it on social media to make them feel better about how many family dinners they're doing.
Well, here we just said that we are spending more time. Well, you and Brad said that you're spending more time doing family dinners than Ryan is.
But the question really is if it's for family bonding.
Does that make you feel better?
Thanks for the shame.
Do you feel like
we'll see you tomorrow. Next Week in America. Yeah. We're talking about shame overcoming.
Do you feel like your family's bonding or not? It doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks about this. It's what is the evidence showing for your family?
Yeah.
If you think that it's not, then maybe you need to try it some more. If you don't, if you think that we're doing a pretty good job, then
You know, honestly, my pastor said this not too long ago, and it wasn't concerning family dinners, but it was similar. You know, the old, like, oh, the family's going to gather around and we're going to tell a Bible story and we're like, read scripture together. That's like a Christian thing that I've always felt pressure as a dad to do better. And we do a lot of talking about the Bible and talking about God and Jesus. We don't sit down as a family and read the Bible, though.
But if you did that, would you just be doing that because someone told you
yes,
to do it?
I
That's
would
not
be.
the right reason to do
Right.
it.
And that's what he said. He said, everybody's family's going to look different if you're doing it your way. And you're.
What if I told you that at least 2 out of 3 people polled in this room don't care about what other people think?
I would say you're a liar because I just heard the results of the poll of this room. And you guys said that you are eating with your family.
Yeah, but that wasn't the poll.
That's not what I
Just
just
a different
said.
poll.
I said at least 2 out of 3 people in this room don't care what other people think about what works for their families.
Well, then I will internalize that, accept it, and I will love myself more.
That's a majority. That means that you have to follow that highly scientific poll. It might be 3 out of 3.
That's right. Hannah?
2.5 out of 3. Stay tuned for more. We'll cover that when we come back. No, I think the most freeing thing you can do as a parent is realize that nobody else can do what you can do with your kids. You know what's good for your kids. You know what's bad for your kids. And you just have to advocate for your kids and for yourself. Stop reading all those self-help magazines.
It's all I do.
At the hairdresser. We'll be right back.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you are working to secure a home, you want to put in an offer, you want to be as competitive as you can. Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, he has the bagel loan. It's going to help you. 314-324-4440. You can call him, you can text him at 314-324-4440 and discuss with him the bagel loan. If you're not going to take my word for it, granted, I've used it twice on a refinance. I haven't used it yet to purchase a home. When you use the bagel loan, here's what happens. He gets rid of all of the closing costs that you're normally going to have to pay. He doesn't roll them into the loan because you're doing business directly with Stewie and you're working with him. He's able to make this happen for you. It's going to save you thousands of dollars. If you don't understand it or if you don't believe me, because I've had people who I know very know very well come up to me after and be like, Annie, okay, so really how does this work? And I'm like, I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. Those closing costs, those fees, they don't exist. Reach out to him. He'll explain it to you in as much detail as you would like to hear. 314-324-4440. Call 314 or text 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC. And they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based off incomplete or outdated information, so don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Mike Pence says he has nothing to hide. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. The former vice president visiting Iowa and reacting to a judge's ruling that he must testify in a probe of efforts to overturn election results, though he can refuse to answer questions about January 6th when he was acting as president of the Senate.
I am pleased that the judge recognized that the Constitution Speech and Protection Clause applies to my work as vice president.
Adding he's still discussing next steps with his lawyers, Pence is considered a possible 2024 presidential candidate. 2 Republican senators say it's time to label Mexico's drug cartels as terrorist organizations, proposing a bill known as the Narcos Act, driven in part by the fentanyl flowing over the southern U.S. border. House Democrats want action on guns after the Nashville school shooting.
Massachusetts Congresswoman Catherine Clark spoke first and demanded congressional action following the Nashville school shooting in which 3 9-year-old children were killed.
The least the MAGA majority can do is have the courage to show parents where they stand. Give us a vote on the assault weapons.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries agreed with her, saying they are demanding
that House Republicans put people over politics and put kids over guns.
Multiple House Democrats called the type of guns often used in mass shootings weapons of war.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Gun rights advocates have argued for a greater focus on school security, mental health, and red flag laws. Pope Francis is at a hospital in Rome for what the Vatican describes as previously scheduled tests. No other details, but his audiences have been canceled through Friday. That's raising some questions about the Pope's participation in Holy Week activities that begin Sunday. America is listening to Fox News.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids than ride in an ambulance.
I'd rather have a catch with my dog Curtis than catch pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease, asthma, or diabetes, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Learn more at Prevnar20.com. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Plenty of sunshine on this Wednesday afternoon. 59. Tonight, clear and cold, down to 38 overnight. Thursday, partly sunny, nice, little windy in the afternoon. 65 showers late Thursday night. Friday, some morning showers, then a break, then rain and thunderstorms trying to redevelop mid to late afternoon into the evening. Some of those storms could be strong to severe. The high Friday, 72. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Eric Clapton is coming to St. Louis on September 12th, and you can win tickets by listening to The Mark Reardon Show. Tune in from 3 to 6, and when I give the number, that's your cue to call. Every day this week on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
When the taxpayers approved Prop S for Francis Howell, they had no idea that there would be an $80 million cost overrun. The current board voted for and allowed it to happen. $80 million of your tax dollars. Hi, my name is Jane Pushkar, and I'm running for the Francis Howell School Board. Francis Howell is now going from a guaranteed surplus to a dire financial situation. With a degree in accounting and an MBA, I know where to look for cuts. Take back Francis Howell finances. Vote for Jane Pushkar on April the 4th. Paid for by Friends of Jane Pushkar, Ron Pushkar, Treasurer.
Vitae Foundation is welcoming people back to St. Louis for their annual pro-life event. It's Tuesday, April 11th at the Hilton St. Louis Frontenac. And guess who's going to be there? Hercules. Kevin Sorbo is going to be the featured speaker. I'm so excited to be a part of this. I am emceeing the event, and I would love to see you there. But you do got to reserve your spot. You got to get your tickets. Go to prowomanaapproach.com and register for this wonderful dinner where you get to support Vitae Foundation as they work to reach women in their time of need, when they are uncertain, when they are scared, and they help women get paired with places that will help usher them through pregnancy and even past that. We care about women, and we need to support women who are faced with these incredibly difficult decisions to make. Go online to prowomanaapproach.com Tuesday, April 11th at the Hilton St. Louis Frontenac and register your seats or get a table together and come see me there. I can't wait to see you. prowomanaapproach.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
But if this thing isn't solved by the time we have the election, which is possible it won't be, and there's also possible we'll be in World War III with these idiots that are doing what they're doing. You could end up in a nuclear world war, which will make World War I and World War II look like patty cakes, okay? This unbelievable, because we have people that don't know what they're doing. But if it's not solved, I will have it solved in 24 hours with Zelensky and with Putin. And there's a very easy negotiation to take place, but I don't want to tell you what it is because then I can't use that negotiation.
Donald Trump was doing a lengthy interview, 2 nights worth with Sean Hannity, and I was able to watch a lot of it and listen to the things that he said. And, you know, his focus was guided by Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity asked him some, what I would consider, like, for Sean Hannity, kind of challenging questions. Asked him about Ron DeSantis, and you may have heard that clip. I don't think that we have it, but where Donald Trump says that if it weren't for Trump, that Ron DeSantis would be doing one of 2 things. He would be working in a pizza parlor or in a law office. So that's the direction that Donald Trump is taking his criticism of Ron DeSantis, suggesting that Ron DeSantis's only credit for success is Donald Trump. But he also talks about these other things that are more policy-based. And he talks about how he would work with Ukraine, like with Russia. He talked about how he got along with Russia. He got along with other countries that there were conflicts, there were issues, and they were people that politically, of course, the reaction to what Donald Trump was doing and how he was communicating with people who gasp, they don't want to, we shouldn't be talking to those people. He's talking with Russia. Of course, we heard all of those criticisms under the veil of the Russia hoax, the Russiagate, the idea that before Donald Trump ever walked into the Oval Office as the president of the United States, that he was nefariously related to Russia. There was no evidence that exists that backs up what Donald Trump was accused of, eventually impeached for. That evidence did not exist. But in the meantime, we also do see mounting evidence against the Biden family, suggesting that they have inappropriate or financially beneficial relationships with foreign countries that are not friends of the United States. It is difficult in the weight of the daily news cycle to see some of these stories and to focus on some of these stories. It seems dismissive to come on to the show today and be, super obsessed with politics and Trump this, Trump that. And I actually at times purposely try to get through shows without mentioning Donald Trump, because it's in one respect, it's too easy. And in another respect, we're 587 days away from the election. There is a lot of time to talk about this. And going back and forth between the Trump-DeSantis ping pong match is not even a ping pong match, because right now Donald Trump continues to belt Ron DeSantis with insults. It's the things that he insults Ron DeSantis about when it comes to policy are not even accurate insults. And then the other stuff is just trying to bloody him up, which is politics. I mean, I credit Donald Trump for sticking with the plan that got him in the office the first time. I wonder if that had anything to do with him not getting in office the second time. And we are sitting here watching story after story come through. And, we spoke with Chad Wolf earlier in the show at 12:25, and we're discussing the southern border. We're discussing the issues that exist there. Everybody can see with their own eyes that we have an issue on the southern border. And we talk about how we can make progress on the southern border. But what if our definition of progress isn't the people who are in charge's definition of progress? Listen to the former Arizona AG.
All this technology, what it's going to do is enhance the port of entry. But honestly, right now, what we need is more manpower at the border. And unfortunately, what you're seeing right now is the Border Patrol's acting as travel agents to the illegal immigrants coming across who are, seeking supposedly refugee and asylum status. But we know 90+% of those are illegitimate asylum claims. So, it's really unfortunate to see the federal government's response right now. I mean, they want to act like nothing is going on. And unfortunately, what goes on at our southern border doesn't just affect our border communities or even just Arizona. Right. It's really affecting everyone across the country.
It does affect everyone across the country. It affects you. Thousands of people coming into this country right now that are unchecked or asked to return. This does affect us. Why does nobody talk about how broken the actual immigration system is? If these people want to come into our country, why not change the way we immigrate people here? Why not remove some of the red tape that process some of these things that people who... I was just having a conversation in the last couple of weeks with somebody who served in the military. Canadian, served in the United States military. Tried to apply for citizenship, went through all the hoops and did everything the right way to become a citizen of the United States and couldn't get it done. Something kept coming up. And it turned out that the person who filed their paperwork in the first time was an intern who was leaving after their spring internship or something. And the paperwork just got screwed up. Yeah, it's an anecdote. Yeah, it's one issue. But are there more scenarios like that? Is the system not set up so that we can make sure that even the best of us that serve our country can get fast-tracked in this regard? It's silly. We always compound issues, and in my opinion, it's so that nothing ever actually gets done, where we're talking about border security and somebody else wants to talk immigration, and we conflate the two so that both of those conversations are disingenuous and nothing actually gets done. Jim Carafano, a regular guest of ours each week, talks and has talked for years that the border issue will be the biggest issue facing Americans in the 2024 election. Does the border concern you more than other things do right now? I think on the face of it, when you start thinking about how bad could an open border end up being for the United States? Because if you look at the fentanyl crisis, it's already really, really bad. The people who are flooding into this country from all over Central America, South America, the people who are coming here, what is being done to support them? How much investment are American taxpayers putting into these individuals, and are they living within the confines of the system that's set up? Do they abide by our laws? Do they respect our laws? Can we ask that question? I'm going to. We have a lot of issues that could be primary voting issues come 2024. We have an enormous amount at stake in the 2024 election. If you look at the Invest in America plan by Joe Biden and you look at how he wants to raise taxes, and it's not going to be on the middle class, it's going to be on those who need to pay their fair share. We know how this goes. We know how this does affect the middle class in a really, really impactful way. We understand that the idea of Democrat big government is that you have to spend big tax dollar money to provide for it. We don't have that money. The economy is not in a position right now where we have the ability to continue to print money and to spend money that we don't have. And while all of this is taking place in your family lives, in your personal lives, in your work lives, I promise that there is somebody in your life that you're thinking about right now who you are politically divided from, that you should not be separated from. But there is a political divide that exists that causes it. So even if you are in the same place together, you have to walk on eggshells around them because you don't want to upset them. And they might feel the same way about you. It could be a two-way street. There are people who know that you supported Donald Trump before and won't ever talk to you again because you supported Orange Man Bad. There are people on the right where there is a division in families or in relationships and coworker situations between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. And it's a deal breaker. That's really sad. And it frustrates me because, again, there is too much at stake in this future election to not have the understanding that there is something to come together for, that there is a future for this country that should be reignited. There should be a great awakening among the people in this country to have something to believe in, not government. Because many people on the left, not everybody, but a lot of the machinery of the left worships at the altar of government. And that master will never serve you. Big government is what the leftists live to serve. If you're on the right, you believe that government exists to serve you. What a distinction. What a difference that mentality makes. Where in one instance, you work, you pay your taxes, and you do it all so that you can serve your government. Whereas on the right, you work, you pay your taxes so you can have a defense, but you also want to pay as little taxes as you can because you want to be able to provide for yourself. You don't want to have to rely on the government to provide you these things, these services, these needs, these wants. You don't have to wait on the government to show up and provide you essentially what I say to my children from time to time. You'll get what you get and you're not going to throw a fit. That's the way socialism manifests itself. If you want equity, it doesn't shake out well for anybody. We need to invest in equal opportunity. That's what the right distinction is. That's the conservative approach, is working to tear down barriers that are keeping people from opportunities to pursue success. We don't live in a country that can continue to maintain the success that it has had in its past by taking away the pursuit of happiness and replacing it with a guarantee of mediocrity. Because that's how this ends up going. We can't be in a position where we're guaranteed happiness that is unattainable when equity is passed to everybody who's involved and managed by the government. That does not exist in America. America will cease to be a free America when that gets put in place. And we have all of these issues facing us right now. Rhetoric that is off the charts dangerous, purposely meant to charge people up and induce a reaction out of them. It exists everywhere. There are people profiting off of it. There are people who do what I do who profit off of it. I try very hard not to. I'm not perfect, of course. There are times where maybe I lean into that too, and I try not to. There has to be a calming common sense understanding of where we are right now is not good for the future of this country. We need to make a change. What does it look like? Keep an open mind. You have 587 days before you have to throw yourself into the support of one candidate or the other. The YouTube live chat poll today. Should the United States government, ban TikTok? Yes or no? Would love to hear what your thoughts are on that. Hannah is waiting for your comments as to why you think yes or no. Looks like a lot of comments have come in already. We want to know what you think. You want to keep it here? You want the government to ban it? Do you want it to go away, but you don't want the government to be the one who makes that decision? Would love to know what your thoughts are on it. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote there. A reminder, you can stream the station, 97.1 FM Talk, anywhere you go, anytime, on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Go find 97.1 FM Talk, follow it. Find the Annie Fry Show there as well. When we come back, Matt Pauley is going to join us, the Sports Open Line host on KMOX. Opening day tomorrow. What is in store for us when the Cardinals take Busch Stadium back and reinvigorate it for the 2023 baseball season? I'm happy to talk about something positive. Can't we all get behind that? Stick around. We'll be back with Matt Pauley in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Is it cool? Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Sherlock Holmes, we have a new mystery. My dear Watson, what conundrum requires our sleuthing? It's these high gas prices, Sherlock. How do I stop paying too much at the pump? Elementary, Watson. Simply use the Cashback app, Upside. The Upside app has eluded my attention. Oh, come now, Watson. Upside is the revolutionary app that's free to download, and you get real cashback for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200. So you can really make cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway. Precisely, my dear Watson. I have the app open now. Look, there's a gas station not far from here offering 25 cents per gallon cash back. Sherlock, you've done it again. I will now use the Upside app and earn cash back on every gallon of gas I buy.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code HOMES to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code HOMES for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HOMES for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-337-6655. That's 800-337-6655. 800-337-6655.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Attorney General of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, on the line.
Her office consented to his bond. She let him back on the street, and now a woman doesn't have her leg. We're going to hold her accountable.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack.
I don't care if we never.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Very excited to be able to talk about something happy and positive, and that on this Cardinals opening day eve. We welcome Matt Pauley onto the show. Sports Open Line host on KMOX, studio host on St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network. Matt, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
You bet. Glad to be with you.
So it's opening day eve. There is a lot of positive energy around this St. Louis Cardinals team. I'm going to let you kind of prioritize what you think that Cardinals fans should know about the 2023 Cardinals team.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was coming out of spring, there were so many good stories, not as many bad stories. The bad story is Adam Wainwright on the injured list and Paul DeJong on the injured list. Outside of that, pretty much everything that happened was good for the Cardinals. Jordan Walker makes the team, young phenom, 20 years old, going to be one of the youngest players ever to make an opening day roster. That's really exciting. Nolan Gorman, what he did in spring, he's somebody to really keep an eye out on because they asked him to do a lot in the offseason in terms of reworking his swing. He did everything that they asked of him, and I think he could kind of be an X factor in what this team does from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, the addition of Wilson Contreras, and you got that 3-4-5 in the lineup with Arenado and Goldschmidt and Contreras in those three spots. So, like you said, a lot more good stuff than bad stuff when it comes to the Cardinals right now.
Yeah, coming off the World Baseball Classic, I was a huge fan fan of watching that. It was kind of an easy way for me to feel super romantic about baseball and to see people have pride in their countries and use it as a way to go and put it on the baseball field. Japan only had, 2 professional players, one of them being American professional players, I should say, Lars Nootbaar. I mean, the World Baseball Classic, I think, did get a lot of people excited for the baseball season that's about to start.
I loved it. And this was the first time that I was really locked in on it. I don't know why it was. Maybe it was just there were so many Cardinals involved, so there was more interest. I can tell you when Trey Turner hit that grand slam, I jumped out of my couch and I was going crazy. It was so much fun. And there have, at times we've seen baseball in the Olympics. I don't think it's an Olympic sport right now, but it never, Major League players don't participate in it when it is an Olympic sport. So I don't think we've ever felt with baseball this pride of country. And we were able to experience that with the World Baseball Classic. And it was happening when, with all due respect to Grapefruit and Cactus League games in spring training, like these games meant something. And you watch those games and they obviously don't mean a whole lot.
I want to ask you about that because, Adam Wainwright is injured. He didn't get injured at the World Baseball Classic. That's a delineation to, Diaz with the Mets and Altuve in Houston. And some of these players who got injured playing the World Baseball Classic, how is it different for them to be playing in that setting versus, like you mentioned, the Grapefruit and the Cactus League? Seems like those injuries could have happened there too.
Yeah, I think they could have. Maybe there's just a little bit more of a possibility that'll happen in the WBC. Maybe more guys are going to throw inside. So like Altuve gets hit, maybe there's more pitches inside. But at the same time, in a Grapefruit League game, pitchers may not be totally locked in. So maybe they may be wild and it may result in that. The Diaz injury, he could have had that injury in the shower slipping or playing a video game and jumping up. Like it's people who are anti-WBC use these injuries as a way to supplement their point. Might there be a marginally higher percentage of an injury in a WBC game than a Grapefruit League game? Okay, but it's not enough to get upset over.
Yeah, and nobody's forced to play in it. These people wanted to play in it, and Mike Trout saying, "I'm the captain of the 2026 team." He's excited to be back, and I think that as far as the game of baseball goes, it sure made me like and respect a lot of players that I probably would have scowled at before.
And kind of a sidebar on this, and I know it's all about winning, it's not about other stuff, but if you get injured in the WBC like Edwin Diaz did, you have insurance. So the Mets are not on the hook for his salary this year. They will pay him $0 because that injury happened in the WBC. Insurance will fully take care of his salary this year.
So let's talk a little bit more about the Cardinals. I am curious as to what the opening day roster looks like, and it's definitely going to look different than it has in the past with, some notable mentions like Yadier not in it for this year, of course. Wilson Contreras as the St. Louis Cardinals catcher. How's it going to be different in 2023?
Yeah, I think you obviously alluded to it with the fact that there's no Pujols and no Molina. That's very different. Adam Wainwright's going to start the season on the injured list. The guys who kind of make the team, the guys who are from a position player standpoint, Taylor Motter makes the team. He's somebody that not a whole lot of people were talking about going into spring. You looked at him as a guy who is destined for Memphis, and give him credit. He really played well during spring training. He got an opportunity because Tommy Edman was at the WBC. Paul DeYoung got injured, and he took advantage of that opportunity. And then we already talked about Jordan Walker. He makes the team as well. So those are kind of the two position players who are the final guys making the team. That outfield is going to be Walker in left, O'Neill in center, and Nootbaar in right. Carlson is going to be the kind of the fourth outfielder, and then that infield group will be Goldschmidt at first, some combination of Donovan and Gorman at second, Edman at short, and then Arenado over at third.
Now you list those names, and it's incredibly exciting. We're speaking with Matt Pauley right now, Sports Open Line host over at KMOX, also the studio host on the St. Louis Cardinals radio network. To me, the real excitement is coming off of last season, which was a storybook season that just abruptly ended. There's a chapter of that book that got ripped out and thrown away, and I still may mourn it just a little bit. But last season was all about looking at the past, and it's culminating at this moment. These names that you're listing, Jordan Walker especially, I'm thinking about the future of the Cardinals. It's looking pretty fantastic.
It is, and a lot of the future isn't here yet. Mason Wynn had a spectacular spring, and he's going to be here soon. Gordon Graceffo is a pitcher. Tink Hence is a pitcher that people should know. The prospect level in this organization that's on the doorstep of getting to the big leagues. And when I say doorstep, meaning within the next year, going into the start of next season, it's pretty incredible. And I know people like to be critical of John Mozeliak for maybe sometimes moves that he doesn't make, but this is an organization that does try to draft and develop, and they do try to protect their prospects. And it's moments like these with a Jordan Walker, this is the reason that they do that. And we just happen to be at a moment in time for this organization where there are going to be a lot of potentially high-end talent coming and making their Cardinals and Major League debuts.
So I'm going to bounce something off of you. I've been thinking about this, and I thought I'm going to take it to Matt Pauley because he'll either shoot my hope balloon out of the sky with facts, but this is a fantasy, and I think it's actually poetic, and it might actually be that chapter of the book that was ripped out. I found it in the trash can, and I want to restore it to glory. The city of St. Louis. I'm looking here. The lawsuit from the St. Louis Rams and what the NFL did to the city of St. Louis settled for $790 million. It says the St. Louis city gets $250 million. The St. Louis County gets $169 million. Now, watching the World Baseball Classic and knowing a thing or two about baseball, I noticed a new bromance between Lars Nootbaar and Shohei Ohtani. And I'm thinking, why don't we take Shohei Ohtani from Southern California and put him in St. Louis with Stan Kroenke's money? What do you think about that?
I don't think it'll be Stan Kroenke's money, but if
we can market it like it is.
We can. The Cardinals, I think, could make a run at him. The Dodgers are going to make a run at him, and the Mets are going to make a run at him, and they can pay him a lot of money. Now, yesterday, maybe it was Monday, Forbes came out with the top 10 highest paid players in baseball, and it combined their on-field money and their off-field money. Shohei Ohtani came in number one at $65 million. 35 of that 65 comes from off-field endorsements. So that would be not really affected whatsoever, no matter where he's playing, because there's a lot of international money. Interestingly enough, number two in terms of off-field money was Aaron Judge at $4.5 million. So Shohei makes $35 million in off-field. Aaron Judge makes $4.5 million, and he's number two on that list. So that shows you the disparity between the two.
And the value,
Yes. If Shohei were to say, I want to go to St. Louis and I'm willing to take a little bit less money to go there, he's still going to be making most of his money in off-field stuff, endorsements, so on and so forth. But if he makes the decision that he's just going to get the highest Major League Baseball contract that he possibly can get, he will not be coming to St. Louis. He'll be going to either the Dodgers or the Mets.
Do you think he's that guy? Does he want to be the blockbuster income guy?
I don't know. I think playing for the Angels, where you just don't win, makes you want to win. So maybe root against the Dodgers and the Mets this year and root for the Cardinals. So it looks like he can go somewhere where there's always going to be winning. It was like all this being kind of fun. It was really cool to watch him and Nootbaar kind of have that connection, and him trying to make sure that Nootbaar is going to play for the team in 3 years. And he would certainly fill. The Cardinals have basically two starters on the roster for next year. So he would fill some holes for that roster for next season, to be sure.
I'm dreaming, and I want Kroenke to pay for Ohtani, and I want Colorado to pay for Trout. How do you like that? Can we make that deal?
I don't know how Colorado will play for Trout. Here's one other thing on that,
Arenado. Yeah.
If the Angels really stink it up this year, maybe they trade Ohtani. And we have seen time and time and time again where players get traded to the Cardinals and then they love it so much they stick around. So maybe that's the play. Maybe try to find a way to get him from the Angels before the season comes to an end.
Well, it's a dream that I have. Thanks for not completely shooting that balloon out of the sky for me. So we're speaking with Matt Pauley, a Sports Open Line host on KMOX. We're 2023. 2020 was COVID. 2021, we kind of had a modified return, it seemed. Does it feel like to you, you've been covering baseball for a long time, does it feel like to you that we're back to baseball? Baseball is back, it is where it was, or is there anything that needs to still kind of return?
I think we're back. And the thing you didn't mention was last year was coming off the CBA negotiation where they pushed back the start of the season by a week. So last year's opening day wasn't even the originally scheduled opening day. They had to push everything back. This is the first time. It felt this way in spring. Everybody at spring training said, okay, this feels like the way spring training is supposed to be. And now it feels that way. I know COVID still exists kind of right now in the country, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of that. But in terms of how it's impacting baseball, I don't think it is.
Last question for you, Matt Pauley joining us right now. The expectation is that the St. Louis Cardinals should be able to win the Central Division. Is that the trajectory you see, barring any unexpected circumstances throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, they should not just win it, but win it by a fair amount. I think, I don't know for sure who the second best team in the division is. I lean Cubs over Brewers, and not a lot of people are saying that, but I think the Cubs are a little bit better than the Brewers, even though the Brewers have better high-end starting pitching. I'm not convinced that either one of those teams will win 82 games this year. So the Cardinals don't need, if they do their job, the Cardinals should not be worried about the Brewers or the Cubs. They need to be worried about the Dodgers and the Braves and the Mets and the Phillies and the Padres and how they stack up against them in the postseason.
Well, we are going to look forward to touching back with you as the St. Louis Cardinals season begins tomorrow. We appreciate your time today. Have a wonderful opening day, Matt. It's a national holiday, essentially, here across the country and in St. Louis, no doubt. We appreciate you, Matt.
Everybody says unofficial holiday. It's not unofficial. It's official, darn it.
Make it official. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Matt. We'll talk to you again soon. Bet. Appreciate you.
Sounds good.
So Matt Pauley there, Sports Open Line host on KMOX. Excited to have him on to talk a little baseball. What do you think about my Kroenke proposal? Don't you want to have like Kroenke's money all over taking the best player maybe to ever play the game of baseball and put him in St. Louis from Southern California? I do. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Fry Show around the corner. Your vote in the YouTube live chat poll. We'll talk about that when we come back, what we think about it. Should the United States government ban TikTok? Yes or no? Let us have your feedback as well in the comments. Maybe Hannah can give us some of your comments because it seems like there's quite a few coming in. We'll highlight a few of those when we return. Don't go away.
Her boyfriend by the name of Joe said to Coney Isle, dear, let's go. Then Nellie started to fret and pout, and to him I heard
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Take me out to the crowd.
Will you loud?
And then buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack.
I don't care if we never get back.
Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
So shopping for flooring in St. Louis, you want to support the home team. That's when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They are a local owned and operated family business. Michael's Flooring Outlet is helping people just like you meet their flooring needs, whatever they might be, small project, big project. If you're looking for hardwood floors, if you are looking for luxury vinyl, waterproof flooring, if you're looking for carpeting and you want to know what kind of brands are out there, where to find the Mohawk Smart Strand that you've been investing your time and energy into researching, you can go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They are wonderful when it comes to helping you meet your needs, and they are very respective of budgets. Great value, great service, great quality products. They're very dedicated as well to seeing the project through to make sure that when you purchase your flooring and you have your flooring installed by Michael's Flooring Outlet, that they are going to be there to make sure you're satisfied at the end of the project and that you're going to want to tell people about Michael's Flooring Outlet. Visit them at one of their locations across St. Louis, as I said, a locally owned, family-owned business, or you can find them online at igotfloored.com.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We trust companies to do what's right, but when they don't, there's Under Law, making a difference, one case at a time.
Call Onderlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years of business, going back to 1898. To celebrate, they're taking $18,980 off every home. The Preserve, a great location close to Ted Drew's, Kirkwood, Webster Groves, villas from the 300s, the Liberty Series in the Glen, luxurious designer series on wooded lots in the estates. All three villages are now open at the Preserve at Watson and McKenzie, McKelveyHomes.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Warmer days are coming. Time to schedule your annual AC system check for as little as $15 a month. For any residential or commercial HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll: should the United States government ban TikTok? Yes or no? Go vote in the Annie Fry live broadcast and the YouTube poll there. Before we do that, Hannah, you sent in a message over here that you learned something about baseball from that interview with Matt Pauley.
I did.
What? What did you learn?
I learned that we signed a 20-year-old baseball player, and that's one of the youngest ever.
Jordan Walker?
Jordan Walker, yes. So
we drafted him, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We drafted him, but he made the major league roster, which is the youngest since I forget when. But
he's this big.
Yeah.
He's so large.
I can now say that I know one Cardinals baseball player for sure.
You should get
Jordan
a Jordan.
Walker.
You should get a Jordan Walker jersey. It'd be a good investment.
I should.
Unless we trade him for Ohtani in the summer.
I also learned about that.
Yeah. Shohei Ohtani. Learn that name. Love that name.
What name did I totally butcher last year?
Ooh, you're going to have to narrow that down.
When we were talking about baseball.
Oh, it's when we were talking about baseball.
Holes?
No, not that one.
Molina.
It'll come to me.
All
Maybe
right.
the listeners will remember. It was really bad.
Seems like it had a poor effect on you. Yeah. Let's get to the YouTube live chat poll and go around the room here and talk about this. Should the United States government ban TikTok? Brad, what do you think?
I'm a yes. Now, I don't know that I'm necessarily for the bill that they have currently before them now, but I think that TikTok is a national security threat. I think that that's the role of the government. I don't take a libertarian. I'm not a libertarian. I don't take a libertarian mindset with that. I do think that the government does have some role as far as regulation and enforcement and stuff like that. And this is one of those things like meth. You want the government to like step in
Hard
and
turn
like,
there. I didn't see
stop
coming.
people from
Whoa.
doing that.
TikTok, man.
You know, so if you look at some of these things like Carafano was saying this yesterday, that it doesn't just get into, it's not just the app, it gets into the software of your phone. If you read through some of
if you delete the app off of your phone, it still has the ability to read the information on your phone.
Right. So that's kind of my thing. It's like, I think that this is a very invasive app, and it goes straight to a company that is owned by the Communist Chinese Party, the Chinese Communist Party. And I think that provides a big, security threat. And that's just on the data side of it. I think on the other side of it is too, what it's called your For You page.
Mm-hmm.
What they feed you in your For You page is kind of, in a way, controlling you and changing what you think and changing what you see. And if you put something in front of somebody long enough, you can actually mold their mind into thinking a different way. And I don't like them influencing our young people to, like, with stuff that really isn't important. So that's just kind of me.
What do you think, Hannah? Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. I use it. I post, and I do use it. I also remembered the Cardinals player. It was Han Solo. That's what I said last year.
It wasn't. Well, he wasn't a Cardinals player.
That's what I said.
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto. Why were we talking about
Because
that?
he was a huge free, he was looking for a new contract, and the Cardinals were in the mix for it, and he played for the Nationals, and then he went to the Padres. I
Okay.
think. Is it the
Well,
Padres?
he wasn't even a
Padres.
Cardinal, but that's what I messed up.
He went to the Padres, and the next week, Tatis Jr. got dinged for doping, and had to for eating. It's just like, oh, that's too bad.
By the way, before we move off baseball,
I was waiting for Matt Pauley to destroy your dreams. He confirmed that it's possible what you're saying could happen with Ohtani.
I think that they valued Ohtani as a pitcher. It's one or the other. One of them is at like $330 million in 10 years, and the other one is $450 million for 8 years. Or those are the dollar amounts and the year amounts. So what do? Do you pay the pitcher? Do you pay the hitter? If I'm him, I'm going, I do both. So pay me for both. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know how long it's going to be. But fork it over and and put Stan Kroenke's face on that check when you send it to him. That's what I'm saying. That's all.
Okay.
When I thought of that, I don't remember where I was when I thought about it, but I remember being like, this makes me so happy. Just to sit here and think about using Stan Kroenke's money to steal the best player in baseball from Southern California and put him in St. Louis, it just makes me happy.
Well, it sounded like what he said was that Japan's already paying him so much in endorsements and otherwise.
Well, it's not just Japan. It's just all of his off-field money.
Yeah, but he's making a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the face of MLB The Show again, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Go ahead.
My thoughts on if we should ban the TikTok and the
TikTok.
You're talking like me.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually,
you play the Nintendo?
I'm having a hard time voting on this poll because I am confused about how it is a national security threat and how it is different than like Facebook Meta, how it's different than that. Like people stealing your information. I think all of the internet is taking your information. So how is it vastly different?
Allow me to answer in the way that I will, and maybe that will answer your question.
Okay.
I am going to vote no on today's poll simply because I think the government, and they've already talked about this, so I don't think it's too far outside the bounds of what they could do, force the sale of TikTok to an American company.
I would be for that.
I would be for, not that I love TikTok. I mean, I don't think that American companies going to do great things for the minds of the youth.
They can't force them to sell, though.
But they've talked about that. And so that's, I think, the difference, Hannah, is that when you're talking about an American company owning it, you don't have a national security threat as much as China, which is using that data for who knows what.
If you can't force them to sell it.
I think that's why they've backed off of it. But
backed off of what?
Backed off of saying that they would prefer that because Biden actually has said that he preferred that.
That's been an effort, and China was like, no. Why would they sell it?
There's no way they're going
to. Don't you think it's in China's best interest to make the United States ban their Chinese super popular app that makes America look bad?
Well, I don't know. I think every other country in the world's doing it, so I don't think it makes us uniquely look bad.
What, Saudi Arabia did? Or India? I can't
India's
remember.
done it.
India did it. What other countries have done it?
That's the main one. India is the biggest as far as population goes.
India and China, their soldiers have had literal fist fights on their border.
Right.
But every other country is not doing it.
Well, but Europe is talking about it in much more extreme measures than we have so far. They're ahead of us on this anyway.
Extreme of banning it completely?
Yeah, they're ahead, and they're probably going to do it before we do.
What's more extreme than banning TikTok?
Not more extreme than, but they're ahead. We're just now getting around to it where they've been talking about it, and they're probably going to do it before we do.
Do you trust China to sell TikTok to the United States and not still have the ability to use whatever they have implemented in TikTok for their advantage?
That's the algorithm. I have no idea. I would hope that if a sale happened, that there would be a clean cut, but I don't know how that stuff works, so I would be a little suspicious.
Do you think it's a security threat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you force them to sell it. They say, no, we're not selling it. Then what?
Then you got to ban it.
So then you got because they've already tried to force a sale.
Yeah. So if that's off the table, then yes, I would agree with banning it.
I wonder if Elon Musk wants it.
Let him buy it.
Well, China is the problem here.
It's for sale.
It's not up to me.
Well, you're brokering deals for Major League Baseball.
I can only do one at a time. And I want the commission, no matter what the fraction is on that one. How about we'll eat some T-Raps together, Shohei? What were you going to say?
I was going to say this app is way too valuable to the Chinese Communist Party. It's way too valuable. The value of it goes beyond a dollar amount, and I don't know that they could throw enough money at them to make them let it go.
It's not going to be if they don't have it operating in the biggest markets in the world, though.
Either way, the end result is the same.
Hannah, do you know the difference between, so it's a Chinese company, the difference between what people in China experience on TikTok versus people here? Have you seen those stories?
I have seen the difference. They get a lot more positive, uplifting things, and
educational, informational.
Yeah.
It shuts off at 10 p.m.
The things we have are not.
Have you ever seen Tucker Carlson do this story on it? He has one highlight reel of TikTok that he chooses to play right when my kids walk in the room.
No, I've not seen this. What is this?
I couldn't watch Tucker Carlson, at least at the time that he aired, for about 3 weeks when the Hunter Biden stuff was hot. I'm like, stop putting those photos on the TV screen. I don't need to see those. My children do not need to see them, but now with TikTok being a main story, it's just a lot of twerking and sexually deviant stuff that Tucker's like, look how bad TikTok is. And I'm like, I don't want to look at it. Would you please stop making me look at it?
How do you watch the news with your kids around anyway? Like, I was babysitting last night in Nashville. Things were coming up. And I had to turn it off right away because I don't want.
I ran to the TV last night, had some guests over, and I think it was the 5 that was on, and then Brett Baer comes on after that, I guess. And I just had it in the background. I was just waiting to see if any news was breaking or if there was anything major with the Nashville stuff is what I was interested in because my kids were in the basement. And then they all came upstairs, and then all of a sudden the video comes on of the body cam, like whatever they were willing to show on. And I almost jumped over my couch to get that off the screen. You have to be careful. And the news cycle will also go through these different spurts where it's covering something. You know, some of this stuff is over their head. And it's just, to them, it's just boring old people TV. Moment of silence. But then you get something like a TikTok low-light reel or Hunter Biden's laptop photos, and Tucker is just excited over the moon to show these things to make his point, and he makes his point. I'm sitting here going, you've made your point. And you can't put that on when the kids are going to come in the room. They don't need to see it. It's difficult. You want to read some comments here before we break?
Yep. So these comments are relating to the poll about if the United States government should ban TikTok. Mike G says, I voted yes, the Chinese company would not sell it to a U.S.-based company. Andrew says, TikTok needs to go. Our friend Art says, I don't think it should be banned exactly, but I feel like people should know the app tracks a lot of your personal information. There's also a lot of censorship, especially for LGBTQ and POC creators. Scott Vetter says, I think the government should inform the public of the risk of TikTok, but banning can open up the Pandora's
Except
box.
for the fact that the risk is to the security of the country, not to the individual. Although it is also a risk to the individual. That's where it's your problem. On a broader level, it could be all of our problem from a security place. I don't understand. I don't know 100% where I am on this. I lean yes, but I hear people saying no, government overreach. Let's keep talking about it. Comment, vote. We'll be back in a minute.
Need to sell your home but not willing to play the wait-and-see game? Hey, it's Mark Cox here for Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. With Gloria, you have options, including a no-obligation cash offer from one of Gloria Lou's cash buyers. It's simple, it's straightforward, and in many cases, you can receive a cash offer in less than 24 hours. And you can even pick the closing date. With Gloria Lou and her cash offer program, you're always in control. Not ready for a cash offer? No problem. Gloria has a guaranteed sold program that states Gloria will sell your home at the agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it guaranteed in writing. Call her today and ask about her no obligation cash offer program at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on price and possession date.
I've been able to watch Corey and the people at Air Comfort Service partner with 97.1 for years, and I'm very proud of that relationship because Corey is wonderful. I'm a customer of his. A furnace, I always want to say heater, a furnace and an air conditioner and a water heater and an AeroSeal duct sealing. I've invested in Air Comfort Service with all of those repairs that I needed to my house. If you're in the market for a new HVAC system, they have an offer for you. Call Air Comfort Service and ask about their hybrid HVAC system bundle. For a limited time, you can save up to $7,500 in manufacturer and utility rebates and tax credits on a hybrid HVAC system. And when you bundle your new hybrid system with attic insulation, they'll give you an extra 20% off. This is a really, really great opportunity for you if you are in need of this new improved HVAC system in your house. Save with Air Comfort Service. They're always doing great work in houses all across the St. Louis bi-state region. How about yours next? Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
On April 4th, St. Louis County voters will see Prop M on their ballots. But what does Prop M mean for county residents? Prop M states, shall St. Louis County impose an additional sales tax of 3% on retail sales of adult-use marijuana sold in the county? The estimated yearly $3.5 million collected from this tax can be allocated to fund police, parks, and roads. Learn more about Prop M at stlouiscountymo.gov/Prop M. Paid for by St. Louis County, Missouri. Sam Page, County Executive, 41 South Central, Clayton, Missouri, 63105.
This is Mark Ponder. I'm a candidate seeking to be elected to the Francis Howell School District Board of Education. I'd like to make sure our district brings back fiscal responsibility due to the massive $78 million Prop S overrun. I want to communicate with the teachers and give them the support they need and certainly deserve. Ensure we communicate much more with the community that supports us and provide a transparency and education that will bring back the trust our voters surely deserve. On April 4th, I hope you'll consider casting your vote for me. For more information, you can find me on Facebook or visit voteponder.com. Paid for by friends of Mark Ponder, Sherry McNeil, Treasurer.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Nothing to see here. Elisa Brady, Fox News. That message from the White House to China, with the president of Taiwan scheduled to make stops in the U.S. as part of a trip to Central America.
This transit is consistent with our long-standing, unofficial relationship with Taiwan, and it is consistent with the United States One China policy, which remains unchanged.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says China should not use the transit as a pretext to step up any activity around Taiwan. Tsai Ing-wen is scheduled to meet with members of Congress, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, in California.
A Beijing official promising today, quote, resolute countermeasures if this were to happen, warning all, frankly, to stay away. And yes, of course, fresh in the minds of all is when then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi stopped off last summer at the democratic island that China claims as its own. Taiwan was absolutely surrounded by Chinese military hardware.
Fox's Greg Palcott. Taiwan's president says independent pressure will not hinder determination to go out into the world. First Lady Jill Biden will take part in a candlelight vigil tonight in Nashville to honor and mourn the victims of the Covenant school shooting. The First Lady will travel there from Ohio, where she's meeting today with military families. The White House hailing the FDA's decision to allow over-the-counter sales of a drug that can stop an opioid overdose. No prescription needed.
Naloxone can reverse overdoses caused by opioids like fentanyl. It is a critical tool that has saved thousands of lives.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says today's decision will make it accessible to more people around the country. The Vatican just confirming that Pope Francis has a pulmonary infection and will be hospitalized for several days. Also, that he'd been having difficulty breathing recently. He's tested negative for COVID. Earlier today, the Vatican said the 86-year-old Pope was at a Rome hospital for scheduled tests. America is listening to Fox News.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids than ride in an ambulance.
I'd rather have a catch with my dog Curtis than catch pneumococcal pneumonia. If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease, asthma, or diabetes, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Learn more at Prevnar20.com. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Plenty of sunshine on this Wednesday afternoon. 59. Tonight, clear and cold, down to 38 overnight. Thursday, partly sunny, nice, little windy in the afternoon. 65 showers late Thursday night. Friday, some morning showers, then a break, then rain and thunderstorms trying to redevelop mid to late afternoon into the evening. Some of those storms could be strong to severe. The high Friday, 72. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
When the taxpayers approved Prop S for Francis Howell, they had no idea that there would be an $80 million cost overrun. The current board voted for and allowed it to happen. $80 million of your tax dollars. Hi, my name is Jane Pushkar, and I'm running for the Francis Howell School Board. Francis Howell is now going from a guaranteed surplus to a dire financial situation. With a degree in accounting and an MBA, I know where to look for cuts. Take back Francis Howell finances. Vote for Jane Pushkar on April the 4th. Paid for by Friends of Jane Pushkar, Ron Pushkar, Treasurer.
If you're experiencing a spring hiring rush, then you need Indeed. Their powerful, all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
97.1 FM Talk.
Everything they talk about. That's what I'm talking about.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I love it.
Everyone is welcome.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, Beth, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
They got to come up with this stuff because they're hiding from the fact, they're trying to cover the fact that while anti-black racism has decreased in America and everybody can see it, anti-white racism has increased in America, and anybody that's not have their head in the sand buried can see that. And so they're just covering up the fact that anti-white racism is out of control. No, the president's doing it. Everybody over social media is doing it. And they want to hide from it by creating, this digital, you're doing digital blackface. It's a joke, Tucker. It's a scam.
So recently, CNN came out, and that was Jason Whitlock speaking there, and said that if you've ever, the woman who ain't nobody got time for that she was in her house and it was on fire, and she came out and she had bronchitis and all these things. You probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, where have you been? What have you been doing? I want to live your life. But these are memes, and memes are pictures, videos, GIFs that are out there that say something by virtue of the visual of them. And they are cultural. They are, I would say they're kind of generational as well. Memes can mean different things for different people. And CNN came out and they said that if you share some of these things, that you might be guilty of applying digital blackface to your point. So I'm here to tell you right now that I have not used GIFs of black people because I wasn't sure I was allowed to.
You've done this before this story?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Of course.
Wow.
I don't think it's right, but that doesn't mean it's not how it is. To suggest that the behavior that would be encapsulated in an image or a GIF, if it's something that's part of a culture that is not mine, to take it and use it as my own would be problematic in this culture.
Wow, I haven't thought about that until that moment. Of course, right? Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I took a different approach.
What?
I look at it and gifts for me, whenever I post them on Twitter or whatever, this is how I feel on the inside whenever I read this, or this is a very funny movie reference to go along with what was said or whatever.
Well, there's a big difference between your intention and what the world decides to apply to your action.
Well, that's fair, and I decided to take that chance.
Did you think about it, though?
Oh, yeah, I for sure thought about it.
So you've thought about...
I've thought that thought before. Is like, am I allowed to share this? I don't care.
So you share it knowingly because you've thought about it
Right.
and you are unaffected by it.
Yes, and that was a long time ago when I made that decision, and I had first heard about this whole digital blackface thing.
How long have you
before.
known about this?
Oh, I want to say maybe a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's just so ridiculous on its face that if I don't give it play, if I don't worry about it, it shouldn't gain any traction.
In your world.
In my world, but if everybody takes that approach, then it won't.
Do you feel like everybody will take that approach?
No. No, I know that there won't be. I think
Other than admirable conviction, I don't know if I think that that line of thinking is functional in today's society.
It's not, but it won't ever be if people don't start using it and adopting it. So it's kind of circular logic there. Somebody has to start acting like it, and I can't control how other people act. I can only control how I act and think, and therefore I control how I act and think, and I choose not to participate in this stupid game.
What?
I'm just this whole world is new to me. I am oblivious. You said you've heard about this a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I've never heard about. I did, within the last week, I heard the CNN story, but before that, I had never heard of.
It never occurred to you that using visuals of people who are not like you in today's culture and in today's social media atmosphere could be perceived as culturally inappropriate.
Not really. Not as a GIF. I've always thought, and I don't use them a ton, but when I do, they're always, to me, just a punctuation mark on whatever point I'm trying to make, usually comedically.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I never would have thought about it.
Well, and this isn't my opinion on it, but this is how it is. That if you were to utilize somebody reacting to something and it was, just if it were by somebody who wasn't a middle-aged white dude like you are, then would you be appropriating, the question is, or the accusation would be that you would be appropriating somebody else's behavior for your punctuation mark. Like it boils it down to simplifying it to that. I mean, it's absurd. Of course it's absurd. Like, does the fact that you use a GIF, if you're a white person, as if you use a GIF that includes a black person, are you a racist? Today, you probably are. But if everything is racist, then nothing is racist.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are doing and saying things that are patently racist, and it loses the effect when everything else surrounding them is wearing that same scarlet letter. I think about people sharing memes of like what a Karen would be. I mean, that a Karen is in and of itself a meme. So you want to share, if I were to cut my hair short and walk around, I'd be a walking meme. If somebody spit in my food when they walked out of the restaurant and set it down on my table and I asked to see a manager, if I'm a middle-aged white woman with short, spiky hair, I'm a Karen. That's just the way it goes. I'd like to speak to a manager. You just spit in my food. All right, Karen. Like, that's just the stupidest thing ever. And Karens all over the world are really over it because of the usage of their name. But what are the intentions, and what are people really representing when they just pick a picture out to show like an inner emotion or a feeling? And should we consider the fact that maybe the usage of something, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know anybody, black or white, like the bronchitis woman. I kind of want to.
There ain't nobody got time for that person.
Yeah, I don't know that clip as much as I know the remix.
Yeah, me too. The songs are great.
I could sing it in my head right now.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that. Yeah, it's a great jam. But if you laugh, I mean, are we allowed, if I don't use it, am I allowed to laugh at it? Is it allowed to be funny? Like, who gets to laugh at these things? Who gets to partake in the comedy and the like moment of comedic relief that you might experience because something funny happened to happen. And if you're somebody who is not white and you do something funny, do you want white people to not laugh at it because they're scared? I don't know where it ends. But, Jason Whitlock is talking about the new invention of digital blackface. I don't think that that's terribly new. It's new to Ryan.
Everything's new to me. But isn't that the problem, though? Is it not that everything's new to me, but that when somebody says, hey, that hurt my feelings, your reaction as a human being is to go, oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And they have weaponized that against everybody in America because everybody has that initial reaction, but I don't even know who's offended anymore.
Well, but the other thing, too, alongside of that is that we've made feelings everything.
That, too.
I mean, even if somebody intentionally hurts your feelings, or if you got your feelings hurt because you're sensitive and your feelings are, I'm raising middle schoolers, so we're in this phase. But if your feelings are easily hurt because somebody said something to you that wasn't as soft as you would like it to be, or maybe you just rather not have it be said at all, then should it never be said? Because we do live in a culture that doesn't want anything critical to ever be said anywhere. And in the midst of that, all we do is criticize one another and call them names.
No joke. That's weird because, I need criticism. It's not something that I want or whatever, but I want to know if I'm coming up short in some part of my life. I want to know that. I want to know, where can I do better? What can I do better? Am I doing a good job? And all that comes through criticism. Now, I don't want harsh criticism. I don't want mean and cutting criticism. But even in that mean and cutting criticism, there's always a grain of truth that maybe you can find something about.
Did you guys eat any of Todd's banana bread yesterday?
Yes.
I think I ate half that pan.
I kept making you guys do it. I didn't want to take it home. It was so good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to get rid of it, and then I ate it, and I'm like, you're not trying to get rid of this.
No, I definitely was trying to get rid of it.
Well, you didn't want to eat it for yourself. I thought you were saying, here, just somebody eat this because nobody's eating it. You were trying to get other people to eat it because you didn't want to eat it all because it was that good.
I wasn't going to eat it all.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to take it home either. So
Yeah.
I wanted people to eat it so that it would be enjoyed because it was delicious. We were at Mission Depot yesterday at Heroes Care. It was a really, really cool event. I was really grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of it. And they had a ton of people come through. They were kind of blown away by the response that they got. Different veterans and active duty people who were coming through to shop at Mission Depot. What do you think about it, Ryan? It was exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's neat because there are so many different. A veteran doesn't just equal here's the need. Veterans are very, very different people from all walks of life, all over the place. And a veteran walks in the door of Heroes Care, and they have multiple different ways to help you. And some people just need a little bit of help. Maybe they just want to come shopping, which is what that store is just a place to go shopping. And other people, they need employment assistance. They need legal help. All of that's provided there. And I didn't know all of that going into yesterday. I knew some of it, but not once you see it, you go, oh man, this is like a well-oiled machine for veterans. And a lot of people didn't know about it, which is why it was cool to be broadcasting from there and tell people about it.
What do you think, Brad?
I thought it was amazing. The job opportunities that can come out of there. Really, the cool thing about it to me was the opportunity to serve. If you want to go and help, they're always open. They said, just go on the website, fill out the form, and we will get you in here to help as much as you want. One of the cool stories that Mr. Jerome told was about a junior hockey team that all throughout the season they collect stuff for care packages, and then at the end of the season they bring all that stuff in and they make the care packages. And I think what they do, 200 care packages at the end of the season, which to me is super cool. I love the opportunity for people to stop thinking out about themselves and start thinking about other people. And I think that Heroes Care is a great opportunity.
Yeah, if you didn't get a chance to check it out, if you want to see it, you can go to the NFRI YouTube video from yesterday and look around. But the podcast was great. John, the CEO, president over there at Heroes Care, was a great host to us, and we were really grateful to be a part of it. We're going to take a quick break. I want to remind you of the YouTube live chat poll, and I want your feedback, too, on this subject we're going to talk about in the next segment. So go vote in the poll, and then leave us your comment here. The poll is, Should the United States government ban TikTok? Yes or no? The question I have for you, and I'm going to ask the crew here, is what kind of tipper are you? And if you have ever been in the food service industry, how would you handle a table or a situation where they left 0 tip on a sizable bill? Well, this person from the New York Post has a solution. We're going to decide if it's a good one or not. So let us know what kind of tipper you are, what you expect to leave, what you expect to get, and vote in that YouTube poll. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
The Cardinals open the 2023 season at home on Thursday, March 30th. So don't miss the tradition and the excitement of opening day at Busch Stadium. That day, all fans 21 and older will take home the 2023 Magnet schedule, thanks to Budweiser. Never miss a game with this convenient information hub. That's Thursday, March 30th. The Cardinals home opener and the 2023 Magnet schedule presented by Budweiser. Tickets still remain. Get yours at Cardinals.com.
This is Paul Goldschmidt. Thank you for being the best fans in baseball.
On Saturday, April 1st, the Cardinals host the Blue Jays, and that day, 25,000 fans aged 16 and older will take home a mystery bobblehead courtesy of Central Bank that features Molina or Pujols hitting home runs. April Fools! These bobbleheads will actually showcase both players doing their best Wainwright impression pitching. That's Saturday, April 1st. The Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the mystery Molina and Pujols pitching bobbleheads. Tickets available at Cardinals.com.
This is Adam Wainwright. Don't miss a legendary moment at Busch Stadium.
Hey guys, I'm David Spade. Applause.
I'm Dana Carvey. Are we the host of something?
Oh, Fly on the Wall. Mm-hmm. No, Dana, and I would never say this, one of Apple, Spotify, and Amazon's top podcasts of 2022. I'm just reading that. I would never say that.
We both got our break on a little thing called Saturday Night Live.
Each week we sit down with friends of the show and share stories and BS about the good old days of SNL. You can find Fly on the Wall, a presentation of Cadence 13, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm excited to talk to you about the Illinois Family Institute. You can go to illinoisfamily.org, and the reason why is because I'm always talking about, like, how do you get more involved? How do you become more informed? And how do you influence your representatives to do things that are more reflective of the way you want to see things done or the way you want to see things not be done? That happens a lot in Illinois. The Illinois Family Institute is there to advocate and boldly bring biblical perspectives to public policy. Now, here's the thing. Everywhere you go, you've got people lobbying government officials for the way they see things and from their perspectives. The Illinois Family Institute is out there maybe advocating for yours, but you need to find out exactly how they're doing this and what issues that the Illinois Family Institute raises up that you might be interested in helping them fight against that Illinois legislature. Maybe an issue lines up with you, maybe it doesn't, but Illinois Family Institute will leave you informed. Go sign up for their newsletter today. Go right now, and you will be glad to be informed by way of the Illinois Family Institute on things promoting pro-life, pro-family, pro-religious liberty, and small government policies at the Capitol in Springfield and in churches throughout the state. You'll find all the details online and how to sign up for that newsletter at illinoisfamily.org.
97.1 and thousands of music options, plus millions of podcasts are all on the free Odyssey app. Download the app or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 and it comes up automatically. 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
All right. Either of you worked in tipped food service?
Not food service, but I have worked in a service industry that had tips, so half there with you.
In tipped food service, no.
No.
Brad, no, you haven't. I was a cocktail waitress and a banquet server, and so I did it that way. I never just straight up waited tables, but I did wait on tables and receive tips, and I certainly was a cocktail waitress that would do a lot of that. You worked handling golf clubs. Right?
Yeah, for a long time, high school and college.
So that's a little bit different, I would think, because there's not a bill that has a percentage. So I don't know that that's exactly the same scenario that I'm going to present to you, but you do know what it's like to try to earn a tip. So you work hard. Did you expect a tip from everybody whose golf clubs you got ready?
If so there was like a line that they drew that if they let you clean their clubs or grab their bag for them or do anything for them, then you did expect a tip. If they didn't want to tip you, they just say, no, I got it. And that was fine. Either way.
No, they got what? Like what?
Like if you walked up to get their bag from them and they said, no, I got it. I can put it on the cart for myself or whatever.
Okay.
They were refusing service and that was okay.
But if you did take their bag from them and clean up their clubs or whatever, then you expected a tip.
Yeah.
What happened if you didn't get one? Did you ever not get one?
Yeah, it was rare that we didn't because there was that line and it was kind of apparent that if you crossed it, you were going to give a tip. But it did happen where somebody who maybe just was oblivious or they forgot, they're just in the middle of something. So it did happen.
So here's a New York Post article. It says, I'm a server. Here's the controversial way I deal with non-tippers. Is there ever an appropriate time? Here's a question. Is there ever an appropriate time to tip nothing at a sit-down restaurant?
Yes.
When?
If the service is so terrible that you're trying to send a message.
What are you, the Don?
I thought this was going to be common, and now I'm realizing as I've said it on broadcast radio that apparently nobody else does that.
To send a message?
Look, if
do you leave like a dead horse head on the table?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but in the rare case that somebody's service is so almost deliberately bad that you're like, look, that was so uncalled for and rude. I mean, it has to be way overboard that you're saying, I leave you 0. That's how bad you were.
Can you think of a time where that's happened to you?
Yes, I can. It's been a long time, but on a vacation in Florida, I can't remember.
I had a friend who went on vacation to Florida.
I can't remember where we were in Florida. I just remember being in an Italian restaurant in Florida, and the service was so bad that we deliberately put 0 in the line. It was awful.
What'd they do?
They only talked to the tables around us and not to us, to the point that it was like it could have been accidental for a while. And then we were like, hey, we need a refill, and they would like come by and refill everybody's cups but ours. And it got to the point where you knew.
Was this a family? Were you with children?
Yeah, I was with my family
as a child.
As a teenager.
Okay, but I mean, it wasn't like you and 6 other college guys.
No. No, and we were being very respectful.
That shouldn't make it okay to do what the server was doing to you, but I think that if they were doing that to a family sitting at a table.
I get it, yeah, and we weren't being rude. I mean, we were being about as nice as we could be. That's the last time I can remember. I know it's happened since then, but I remember that one.
What about you, Brad? Is it ever okay to not tip?
Yeah, this is going to sound awful, but I'm with Ryan on this one.
Yes.
Service is abysmal.
That's a weird way to preface that.
This happened to me
Brad,
last
you're not
year.
the guy who puts 20% on the table and takes $1 away as the service deteriorates, are you?
No.
Okay.
Oh man, I kind of respect those people though.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
No. I mean, I tend, even if the service
Those
is bad,
people are all old white guys.
I like watching it. It's
and
a
they're
show.
all doing it because their wives told them to. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. The last time this happened to me, the service was so bad. Again, it was that they didn't refill our drinks at all. Not one
Isn't
refill.
it super annoying when you pay $3.29 for a soda and they don't refill it?
Yeah.
Oh, preach, girl.
Girl?
I mean, woman.
Lady? Ma'am?
Yeah.
Miss? Never mind.
Ma'am.
Annie. Just use the name.
Our food was cold. So
Yeah.
we saw her when she took our orders and brought our drinks, and then when she brought the food out, and then we didn't see her again until it was time for the check. Our food was cold. Some of the
you
orders were wrong.
Send a message.
Yes.
Ooh, man, you drew the line a little bit earlier than I would because I have a lot of grace, especially now.
No, I spoke.
What do you mean, especially now?
After COVID.
Okay.
I mean, shoot.
Did you say a lot of gray, especially now?
A lot of grace, not gray.
Oh.
Not gray area. No.
Shoot.
Shoot, girl.
But then,
Lady.
Ma'am.
one of the members of our party was military. They didn't apply the military discount correctly. And then whenever I called the manager to
Why do you hate America?
Yeah. When I called the manager to take care of that, the manager couldn't. And so we left with $50 gift cards that we will never use because I will never go back to that establishment again.
Brian will. Give them to him.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take him. I have a ton more grace than he does.
You also really love free food more than anybody I know.
I'll get it to go. Just get it to go.
She's like, I don't know what to do other than to give you these coupons. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to use
I don't
these.
think that I don't know that I've ever not tipped in a sit-down restaurant. I don't know that I could do that. I probably could, but I can't think of a time where I have. What I will do is talk to a manager or try to talk to someone. There has to be something that I can identify as definitive. It can't be like she was mean to me.
Oh my gosh, I've seen you do this at Buffalo Wild after the Tyrus event. It was fun. There was something wrong, and you just said, "Hey, this is the way we'll handle this." And you said, "We have to talk to the waitress because she's not got XYZ right." And I thought that was extremely respectful, but you did it right.
Thank you. I will correct whatever the issue is, and then usually they will give you a discount of some kind, or they'll take something off of the ticket. And I will usually, if they give you a 15% discount, I'll tip 15% because that's 15% less out of my pocket. Anyway, so the New York Post talks about a service industry worker. And of course, you put this up on TikTok. That's how everybody knows about it, especially the people in China. Kat Bush, a bottle service girl and server who claims to have worked in the service industry for 4 years, posted this video. It's gotten tens of thousands of views. She says, $0 tip, no problem. She then reveals that she's failed to get a tip only a handful of times. So she goes on to share advice on how to handle those no tippers. Bush tells her followers to walk up to whoever paid the tab and, quote, in front of everyone, ask the customer who didn't leave a tip, "Hi, sir or ma'am, I see you didn't leave a tip. Is there anything I could improve on with the service that you feel like you could share with me?" According to the server, most customers will come up with an excuse as to why they didn't leave a tip and ultimately give one. She says that in a worst-case scenario, a customer will give you a verbal tip, an explanation of how you can improve your service. The server also said that if the bill is extremely high, you should go to your manager, explain the situation, and see if they can calm something off the tab so you don't have to tip out in the negative. But go up to the person and say to you, Ryan, after you've been dissatisfied with the service, "Sir, I noticed that you left me 0 tip here. Is there anything I could improve upon that would make me better at my job or improve my service?" What are you doing when that happens?
Ooh, if I'm the customer.
You're like, let me get my list out here.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go
Written on a
because
napkin.
I don't do it often. And if I have a reason for it, I'm probably ready to explain what happened respectfully if you're going to ask that question. And if they're asking, I actually kind of respect that they would. as long as they're actually seeking out feedback.
What
and
if
not
they
trying to
ask it in a
embarrass you.
super competitive way and they're going like this with their head when they're saying it?
Well, then I might just explain it still the same.
Same way.
Yeah.
I know. What about you, Brad?
Yeah.
That woman or man or whoever it was is serving you comes up at the end and says, I see you left me 0 tip. Is there anything I could do to improve my service?
Yeah, I would tell her exactly what frustrated me. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would make sure that I come back. I would make sure that I visited the tables regularly. You should make sure the drinks are refilled. You should make sure that the food orders are correct. And then you should also make sure that the order, and when it comes time to pay, that gets rung out correctly. It seems like an attempt to embarrass me. And
you're like, I'll see you.
I see you and I'll raise you.
I call.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like Ryan said, it happens so rarely that I would ever do that I'm doing everything that I can to keep myself contained in that moment. And then you're just going to walk over and pop the lid off that jar and like, all right, let's light this candle.
Here we go.
I'm just going to say that if that ever happened to me and they had earned a no tip, and I can't think of a time where I've done that, but if it had gotten to that point and they came over and asked me what they could do better, it would be ugly.
Oh, I'd like to see
my
that.
whole family would get up and leave. They'd be like, you made a mistake.
Well, that's the other thing is that most of the time when that happens, because it doesn't happen often, when it does, you leave the 0 and then you leave. You're not leaving the tip and then sitting there
around
waiting.
and waiting.
Yeah. So
unless you're splitting tick, like if you are with another couple or something and maybe you paid with cash or they paid with cash and they're getting change and you paid with a credit or something like that.
Yeah. It would have to be something like that.
I also think it's important to acknowledge that you're both saying that you would be willing and have done that before, but it's not a norm for you at all. We could probably all collectively admit that there are a-holes out there who just don't tip.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, there are. There are.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
I'm remembering when I used to work at golf courses, and you just knew there were some people who were just going to be that way.
Hannah, have you ever worked in food service before?
I worked at a local restaurant as a host for like 2 months, and then COVID hit, and so I didn't work anymore.
Did you get a portion of the tips as a host?
Mm-mm.
So you didn't care how people were treated?
No, I did. I wish I got tips, but no, I didn't.
Have you ever not tipped?
I don't remember a time that I did not tip, no. And the Karen conversation earlier, some may call me a Karen. I may call myself a Karen at points, but really I expect the bare minimum. Like, I just want my food to be served, my drink to be refilled, and be treated like a normal human. And that just doesn't happen a lot anymore.
My husband and I have taken to, especially if we're on vacation, because if you're buying drinks in a restaurant for a family of 5 or 6, that's an extra $25 in some places. It's just not worth it. And there are times where like mommy and daddy are having sodas and you're having water, and that you're just going to be okay with that. But if you pay, at Disney World, you could pay $4.50 for a soda, and it comes in a normal at a sit down restaurant. I'm going to need like 3 or 4 of those before I go out in the park and have to get one. That is a trick at Disney World trip. You can almost always ask for a to-go.
I'm writing this down.
Do it. You can almost always ask at a restaurant for a to-go cup.
Ooh, I've actually mastered that already at other restaurants.
They'll give you. Actually,
I'd be shocked if they said you couldn't.
Actually, that is something you could do at a lot of restaurants. They'll take your soda and they'll go get you a fresh one and get you a to-go cup, because I don't think that was as common probably pre-COVID, but everybody is used to carry out and to-go orders. That if you order a soda, when you leave, ask the waitress, would it be okay if I could get a to-go cup of Diet Coke before we leave? And it's pretty common and normal now, but definitely do that at Disney because it costs you so much.
Sweet.
To go out, and then you got to get bottled soda out and about. But just the idea of somebody not coming and refilling your drink, and it seems like I'm sitting like, this is super petty. Like it's just a drink, but I'm paying for the drink.
Yeah.
And in the world where everybody's judging people, and I'm going to get messages from people that are named Karen today because we talked about it. I don't have a problem with Karens, like real people who are named Karen. So that's just on the record.
Hannah does.
Yes.
The rest of us don't.
Like I'm calling
message
She just
Hannah.
goes on and on about it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we were going to talk about the show today,
Yeah,
but
let's talk about Karens.
okay, once again, here we go with another Hannah meeting.
If you didn't tip Hannah, or maybe you didn't tip enough, and someone came up and called you out on it and asked what they could do to improve?
I'm for that. I think that it might.
You're for that as the waiter?
I think it's good that the waiter would come up and ask politely. Now, if they were like, what is this? Like, why didn't you tip me? What? Like, and we're rude about it, that would be different. But if they asked, like, what could I have done better or something like that, and they were actually trying to communicate with you, I'm for that. And if I didn't tip, I think I would have a good enough explanation as to why I didn't leave them money, and I would communicate that back to them.
I think the difference between what this video is saying and what we're saying in here is you guys both indicated that you had made it clear that you were unhappy before you decided not to leave a tip. So it'd be a little bit more ridiculous for them at the end to come and be like, what? You
What
didn't
did I
think
do?
Yeah. Why? What?
This is a shock.
Like, yeah.
I thought I was doing a great job.
I just feel like if you're working in an environment where you're being tipped, that there are definitely going to be people who just don't. And I don't know. Those are jerks too. In my mind, I'm thinking about the waiters and waitresses that I've had that have been maybe less than stellar, especially more lately than it seemed like before. People take less pride in their work. But if you were somebody who is listening as a server, I promise you profile people when they come sit down at a table, and you've got a guesstimate as how much this group of people, this collection of people is going to tip. If it's a family, if it's a group of guys getting beers, if it's a group of women getting, what do women drink? Cocktails.
White Claws.
White Claws. Black cherry. If it's, a group of 4 old ladies coming to have dessert and coffee or college age kids or whatever, you probably have an idea of what all of those individuals are going to tip. And I always wonder, does that affect how you serve them? Because then we get into that cycle.
You know what always stuck with me too, and this is even from college. I remember going to church on Sundays and going after church. A lot of people go out to eat for lunch or whatever after church. I remember talking to some of my friends at the time who were servers. They said our least favorite people to serve are the people coming in after church because they just don't tip. And I have always made sure that if I go out with my church group.
He says that to everybody. And
He probably does.
And
You're
just
right.
says that, the worst people are those youth pastors. And Brad's like, ooh, I don't want to be one of them. Here's a gigantic.
Those radio hosts are awful. And you're like, oh, man, I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah, I got to bring the elevation.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. And how much do you tip now?
Well, always
Yeah,
very well,
very
especially
well.
with a church group.
Man. All right. Come vote on the YouTube live chat poll handle. Give us the results and some of your feedback when we return. Should the United States government ban TikTok? We'll find that out when we come back. Don't go away.
Let me light your candle, calls mama, I'm sure all the hand and just around. Yeah, all the hand now. Oh, baby. Baby, here I am, a man on your scene. I can give you what you want, but you got to come home with me. I forgot some good old love.
So let's talk about STS Armory and how they can help you with education. When you're somebody who has firearms in the home, you want to make sure that everybody in the home understands those firearms. You want to make sure that you have them protected. You want to make sure that they are safely secured and stored in your home. There's a lot that goes into owning firearms, and experienced firearms understand that. But if you're thinking that you need to be able to protect yourself in this crazy world that we live in right now, you can start that process at STS Armory. When it comes to, as an Illinois resident, getting a FOID card or potentially wanting to get your conceal and carry. Listen, I've had my conceal and carry for a long time, and I'm not always carrying. It's something that's good to have. The education is incredibly important, and the ability to continue and maintain and grow that education even more so. STS Armory is there to provide you with these classes. They're going to help you feel confident and responsible in exercising your Second Amendment. If you're shopping for a firearm, if you're looking for more of this training, if you want to do a class with your spouse or even with your kids, you will get the training that you need that respects the process and the responsibility of owning a gun. 618-931-GUNS is the number to call. 618-931-GUNS. Find them in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive, sts-armory.com.
On April 4th, St. Louis County voters will see Prop M on their ballots. But what does Prop M mean for county residents? Prop M states, shall St. Louis County impose an additional sales tax of 3% on retail sales of adult-use marijuana sold in the county? The estimated yearly $3.5 million collected from this tax can be allocated to fund police, parks, and roads. Learn more about Prop M at stlouiscountymo.gov/Prop M. Paid for by St. Louis County, Missouri. Sam Page, County Executive, 41 South Central, Clayton, Missouri, 63105.
If you need a new fence or deck, experience matters. At Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they've been at it since 1968. Mark Cox here. If you want the sign you have the very best, go to Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Visit their extensive showroom there in Chesterfield. They'll give you free in-home estimates, no obligation, even free project design. Their fences are made in the USA. They're wood, vinyl, or aluminum, even steel and chain link. And their decks are beautiful, natural cedar. Plus, they have that VecaDeck vinyl decking, which is the strongest in the industry, with no maintenance. They also do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas. You'll want to find out more about Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com. Mention Mark Cox, and you'll get a special discount for the month of February and March. chesterfieldfence.com, or call them today at 636-532-4054.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 6189 million.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
We're loaded up on Wednesday afternoon. Senator Eric Schmidt will join us. Also, Ricky Horton at 3:25 to preview the Cardinals season.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Town all up after the sun goes down, and say nothing good happens here when midnight rolls around. But laying down would be in vain. I can't sleep with you on my brain, and I ain't anywhere close to tired. Your kiss has got me wired. Girl, you got to be right, killing in your Levi's, high on your love has got me buzzing like a street light. It's still early out in Cali, baby, don't you want to rally again?
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm literally sitting here scrolling through the entire show's comments. Somebody mistyped something that was so funny earlier in the show, and I was telling him off the air, and I wanted to show it to him.
And you still can't find it?
No, I think I just found it.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Can you put it up or not?
No, I'm not going to put it up.
Okay.
But
So
I'll show it to you.
Somebody who wants to find this could find it at what approximate time? Like myself or anybody else.
That's listening now.
It's listening now.
The comment is so funny.
You have to share it. Just put it up on the screen for a second.
No, because then it outs the person who did it.
Oh, so that's part of it.
Because it was just a typo.
I know.
They said, this is the sentence. They said, my poor dog does not want to go to the park anymore because the ducks keep biting her. She's purebred.
Her.
But they misspelled dog and said dog.
They spelled dog D-O-N-G.
My poor dog does not want to go to the park anymore because the ducks keep biting her. She's pure.
It's the first time I've ever heard somebody refer to the DONG as a her.
Immediately after they comment, dog. And then everybody's having fun with it. And this was, I don't know, this was right before we came back into a segment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't read that. That's so funny. And I was very conflicted.
I think that person might have misgendered that dog.
It's their dog.
You know what? You're right.
It's their decision, I think.
You're right.
I'm not sure. That is a whole sentence right there. We should go to break.
Remember Election Center?
I don't want you. I'm afraid.
Do you not want to go back into that whole world?
I don't.
Because we can stay out of it.
You guys said it reminded you of election night because I told them this off air, and
Yeah.
In my household, I'll say this. In my household, like I said, my kids are middle school aged, and they are, especially because my son is 13 and he plays sports with boys who are a little older. It's the age, isn't it? When you're 13, 14, isn't everything an inappropriate joke?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Brad, I think probably at 14
That's
is
when
when you
it's-
reali's that it's funny.
that's
and
when
then
it
stays
starts.
funny until you're well
he's-
into your 90s.
Or dead. He's hanging out with kids who are a little bit older than him. And so he's around this. It's not there. I mean, I'm blaming these other kids. I think it's incredibly natural.
Mhm.
And my husband and I have we try to stop laughing at that. That's not appropriate, but it's usually pretty funny.
I
You
get
know what I'm
it.
saying?
I get it.
And so we tried to squash it down a little bit, and that didn't work. And then my husband were like, well, what if we would just start making a lot of jokes and wear them out?
Yeah, you try to tidal wave them.
And I think our kids don't trust us anymore. So we're kind of conflicted. But then you see something like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids would think that's so funny.
Mhm. We could probably ask that person some follow-up questions.
I'm not
too.
a bad mom, but I'm trying to figure it out in real time. And this is currently the challenge. If you were raising kids of any particular age, when you get to that phase that you're currently in and new things are happening, every once in a while you will say things out loud and you will stop and go, this is my life. How did it get to here? If I said this sentence out loud in any other context, in any other room, I would lose friends.
Mm-hmm.
People would not want to associate with me. But when you're around children and you're like, I don't know. I don't want to embarrass myself. I know I'm thinking of things I've said and I don't want to say them on the air and admit to them.
Maybe say them in the same way that we say things to not get banned from YouTube.
It usually, oh no, that's not like that. But it usually has things to do with wear your pants. You have to wear pants. Or even things that have to do with bodily functions. No, you can't do that there. But when you've got little kids, I mean, Molly is going to be 2 in June and she doesn't want to wear a diaper. You know, and she's big enough now that she can put her clothes on and you don't either.
Yeah.
But the Wiggins family says, no, Ryan, you got to wear your diaper.
Well,
you've become to a certain age.
You know what? But you get to a certain age and you go, I can do anything I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go to the bathroom
Which
right
is
here
why you're
while we're
wearing
talking.
the diaper.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get up.
This is not the first time we've discussed the possibility of you being sponsored by Depends.
Yeah, it's not the first time we talked about me pooping in my pants. It comes up.
So this things that I said only get said in the home in front of my kids, this is now happening
It's
here.
just happening here. Who cares?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I had one of those moments last night, though. My 5-year-old comes downstairs and goes, I need to get my blankie. And we're like, okay, get your blankie. So he goes and gets a trash truck and starts driving it up the stairs. And we're like, dude, you just bait and switched us. You said you were getting your blankie. And then he looks right at us, opens up just the back of the trash truck and pulls that blankie out like a magician.
Suckers.
And it was like, man, I had to get up, just applaud. It was fantastic. That's the stuff right there.
It's just a very bizarre existence. And you can even tell these stories among, fellow parents in the trenches and be like, oh, we didn't do this, but we had that. And then you just get into a one-upper conversation with the craziest things that happen to you that outside of the context of speaking to small children who are still trying to figure this all out, it makes no sense. I just want to do my kids You know that I'm responsible for important things, right? Like, this is not the entirety of why I am on the face of the planet. That there are other things in this world and people who count on me, right? You understand that. Put your pants back on.
Mm-hmm. There's pepperonis on the ceiling, and I think I know who's responsible. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, not everybody has the same issues. But you just don't judge each other.
You just let it go.
Too much.
Yeah. And sometimes you applaud. Because how did you even get the pepperonis on the ceiling?
Yeah, how'd you do that?
How did you keep all of the urine in one corner?
Oh. Fine, we got you depends, Ryan.
Well, that, again,
YouTube bowl?
I appreciate it.
YouTube poll, naturally.
She seems judgy.
Segue.
Should the United States government ban TikTok? Yes or no? I'll read a few comments before I give you the results.
A lot of bodily function comments coming in now in the chat.
Surprise, surprise. I think they're proving what Brad and I said. That it never stops being funny.
No, it just sets in at about this age.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Scott says, letting government determine what's safe and what isn't is a slippery slope. They already want to ban Fox News. FR said, as was pointed out yesterday by someone, American companies to the same activities. So are we regulating who can spy on us, or are we regulating
spying on us?
Spying on us. G-Wib says that he doesn't use social media. Part of the reason TikTok is so bad because we make it bad. Garbage in, garbage out. Parents should ban social media from their young children, but they are addicted themselves too. Carlos says, I voted no. Once the first social media platform gets banned, controlled, or regulated, all of them will fail, and all of them will be an extension of the Fed. Bonsai from Twitch says TikTok is a mind virus and should be banned in the U.S. Do you have a comment?
Well, speaking to what Carlos said about everything being an extension of the Fed, I think we've already proved that they were. And now we're starting to come out of that with the Twitter files, which is good. It doesn't mean it's fixed all those problems, but I don't know that is going to cause it. It was already there.
Rockin24 from YouTube said, should have banned it as soon as the proof came out that they were spying on what the people were doing and liking. Patrick Riley from YouTube says, I voted no on the poll. The wording in the proposed legislation is way too overreaching and gives the government way too much control.
Legendary coach. Pat Riley.
Absolutely. Yeah. Three-peat.
Yeah.
I don't think those two words are associated. Pat Riley and three-peat.
I don't know.
But it sounded good, didn't
Was
it?
he the coach of the Heat?
I think he was.
Did he win 3 in a row?
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
All right. Should the United States government ban TikTok? 73% of the people said yes, they should ban TikTok. 27% of the people said
3
they
out
should
of
not.
4. That's a pretty, I would say for a poll, that's a pretty overwhelming consensus.
I'm actually surprised that there was a quarter of the people, although it's got to be a libertarian argument, right? People saying, let's just keep the government's hands off.
You said it earlier, too, that there's, I don't know if it was you, Brad, that said something to the effect of, yes, I'm in favor of banning it, but not necessarily the way they're going about it this time. There's the Keep People from Murdering Puppies Act. And it has nothing to do with murdering puppies. It's got a bunch of other crap in it. And then if you vote against it, they run ads against you saying that you like to murder puppies. So what's all in the bill? Keep the bill simple. That would be better. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm not a married sweetheart.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement